past all of them as well. What a move from the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
Need expert support for your sim racing setup? SimRig Support has you covered. With over 2,000 hours of experience, our team excels in diagnosing and resolving issues swiftly. Submit a ticket for remote help, send us your hardware with a prepaid label, or book an on-site visit. We handle all major brands, from wheel to PC problems. Trust SimRig Support to keep you racing.
Hello everyone and welcome back. It is time for the return of the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, and of course before all of that, the Formula Fords, as we head north of the border up to Scotland and up to Knockhill. It is going to be a tricky run though over the next 3 weeks as we get ready to crown our champions here in the Formula Fords and of course in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. Hugo Luis bringing you the camera feed that you can see here, and in the commentary booth it's myself, Lewis McGlade, and it's a fake Scotsman. It's Cameron Roger. He's in the booth as well. We have to have someone with Scottish blood in here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's in the blood, it's in the hearts. But what is it going to be like on the track today? It looks like it's a bit misty out there, so Scotland is certainly giving us a bit of a treat. But it's one of the trickiest tracks on the calendar. It's so short, it's so tight, and twisty. Of course, we've got the chicane as well to go through with the big anti-cuts. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Look, Cam, we've been to Knockhill in real life. We've seen it in person. The weather's pretty apt. I mean, I think when we were there, it wasn't great weather conditions-wise. Certainly wasn't golfing weather, that's for sure. But alas, that is the case. At the moment, it's not wet on the circuit, though. It is dry. Let's talk about how the evening's going to work. Of course, they're about to enter qualifying, where it'll be a 10-minute session. They'll get a certain amount of laps, and that will set the grid for race 1. Race 2's grid will be set from the race 1 grid order, with the exception of a reverse grid. A number will be picked between 5 and 10, and that will be your reverse grid pole sitters. Same as always. Should be a fun one. It always is exciting round here, and to be fair, I think a lot of drivers are going to be hoping it's a very low number out there today. Knockhill's a tricky circuit to go racing at. Let's remind you as to where we've been and where we're going. Of course, Brands Indy started out the season. We went international with Zandvoort before returning to the UK with the Snetterton 300 Owen Park International, and then Silverstone, which last week was actually pretty exciting in the Formula 4s and pretty dramatic in the British F4s. We're in the final 3 weeks though, which we're running on 3 consecutive weeks. The final leg of this championship, Knockhill, Donington Park Grand Prix, before returning to West Kingsdown and to Brands Hatch to round out the championship. The standings see Mark Fletcher at the top, Lewis Werrell in second position in the championship, and Shoma Shintani, who was doing the Formula 4 Festival a week ago and started the final on pole position, but unfortunately didn't get a good result from the race. Ollie Stone, Sam Sanders, of course, Harvey Jones, Crofton Woodhatch, Jonathan Smith, Ham Jacob, Stevenson Mollat, and Ian Joyner there inside the top 10. But do remember that they have 2 rounds of drop scores to take for the season to basically kind of decide what's going to happen in the championship. We're not going to talk about drop scores because that's far too complicated, and Cam might not be an idiot, but I am.
It's also just a little bit too early to work out because it depends how they go. And if you start getting some good races, then of course they're going to count. But if you start having some bad races, maybe if you do a double DNF even, then that round is not going to count and the points you've got are going to stay there. So we'll leave that for the final round. But for now, to focus on the racetrack, we come into the final moments of practice here. And one thing, Lewis, that was quite interesting last time out at Silverstone was we had the same podium in both of the races. Shintani winning from Fletcher from Woodhatch. Of course, there was some argy-bargy in the final couple of corners, which changed that around, especially in the second race. But very interesting that even with the reverse grid, we've got the same podium twice.
We are on TV. Hello, it's us. Thanks, Hans. Jakob Stevenson-Mullet, who is kind of done with the session at the moment, is currently the driver who is top of this session, by the way, is the only driver to break below the 51-second barrier. He's done a 50.995 in practice. And you can see there on a screen, it was in the middle of a run as well, just because of the tyres. It's not too high of a tyre wear circuit, is it, this one, Cam? Well, I do want to talk one for a very quick point before we go into qualifying. There is a driver missing. No Lewis Werrell. For the second time this season, he's using those drop scores on no-shows.
Yes, which means all of his other races are going to count, and therefore the consistency from the driver of Mark Fletcher so far, that is going to come back to be very, very handy. But of course, there's still 3 rounds left, and therefore 6 races, a lot of points still on offer out there on the track.
Yeah, certainly. So, well, that's practice set and sorted as we get ready for qualifying around here. In the Formula Fords, it will be 3 laps they get. So it's a 10-minute session and they get just 3 laps. And you can see how dingy it is out on the circuit. There is no rain, though. This is just pure overcast, little bit of fog. Track temperature, I mean, it's 21 degrees Celsius. It's not bad out there. But I think, Cam, you've got to do these 3 laps on consecutive laps. You can't just do 1 lap going to the pit lane, 1 lap going to the pit lane, 1 lap. You need that tyre temperature to be built up over a 3-lap stint.
Absolutely, and especially with how short it is around here, you kind of need to get a bit of rhythm and flow going. As you say, under 1 minute for a lap. We were over 2 minutes back at Silverstone. Completely different style of racing. It comes at you very, very fast indeed. There's only really sort of 4 or 5 major corners that you actually have to think about on the circuit as the drivers work their way on their warm-up lap to get themselves set for qualifying. Here is Crofton Woodhatch, double podium place. He probably would have thought that he could have won the previous race. Unfortunately, he got overtaken at the final corner.
Yeah, I mean, look, Crofton Woodhatch has had a lot of ups and downs this season, hasn't he? And has shown some good form, has shown some good pace. But alas, the last round for him, I think he was sat there being like, there's a victory in here. He was really, really calm and collected in the interview, though, afterwards said, look, it is what it is. You know, would have liked to have won, fair enough, but sometimes that's just not how it goes. So has to settle for not being victorious. Cam, as it is effectively a kind of home circuit, even though not really, I think it's time for you to talk us through the next 50 seconds of driving from Crofton Woodhatch.
Absolutely. Down towards the first corner at Duffer's Dip, it is a huge downhill sequence, completely blind. Send over the first curve and then the second and get it back over to the left-hand side to open up McIntyre's a little bit of an overtaking opportunity. Then work your way through Butchers, up the hill, over the chicane. Get your line absolutely right over the anti-cuts. Hopefully you keep it on the tarmac and not on the gravel on that outside. And already up the Brabham Straight and through the Clark curve. This is very important because it works your way onto Railway Straight and down towards the biggest braking zone of the track. And already the lap is basically done, but you've just got to find your braking marker down to this final hairpin. It's a very, very late apex. It's completely uphill, so you don't want to go in too early. Get the car rotated, get on the power, but it's a long run up to the line. Don't be surprised if you see a bit of swapping and switching as we get towards the checkered flag in the final positions. But yeah, very hectic lap here at Knockhill.
It really is. Woodhatch then up into 7th position. Hans Jakob Stevenson-Mullet 6th. Harvey Jones just moving up inside the top 5. There is Hans Jakob Stevenson-Mullet. So on the middle lap of this 3-lap run, and is actually not pushing on this one. Just trying to build that tyre temperature ready for the final run. Mark Fletcher then is at the front of the field. 51.6 can tell you right now, probably not going to be the pole. I think we're going to need, I think it'll be a 51, maybe a 1, maybe a 0.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy how close these lap times are. 1/4 of a second basically for the top 10 as we see the 333 work his way through, and a great webcam footage there of him working his way down as well, really having to saw at the steering wheel. A lot of micro corrections to keep this car in check, and this really is one of the hardest corners there. Is you got to just nail these curves perfectly. It's basically a straight line in these cars, but if you get it wrong, you're going to be going off into the gravel and losing a lot of time. It's very much about momentum at this track.
Yeah, indeed. Through Clark, big kick of oversteer coming in from Mullet there. Really trying to push this. You saw it through the chicane. I mean, that was the chicane was such a big thing in the British F4 Esports Championship last year. Gordy Much probably throwing it through the chicane. And then obviously the struggles of Pete Behrman, who came into this round as the championship leader. And it turned that entire season on its head. It can happen in this. Ian Joyner then goes to the top with a 51.4. What does Mullet do across the line? Only a 51.5. It is quite cool. I think it's cooler than it was in practice. And they're not getting the tyre temperature required to set those low 51-second lap times. Jonathan Smith goes to second, 200s behind. Here comes Harvey Jones.
Yeah, the second flying laps seem to be going faster for everyone as well as Jones goes up into P5, just 0.17 off the pole position. Such close time, so these second laps are going to be very important indeed. Shintani goes in 7th place, a quarter of a second off though.
Yeah, indeed. I'm not sure as to which lap time that was from Shoma Shintani there, as to whether... Oh, gone.
Loudon going for a spin there at the final corner at Taylor's, but that was actually Shintani's first flying lap. So if he makes some gains, as everyone has been doing on his second flying lap, he could be challenging for pole.
Yeah, indeed. Few drivers that are done with the session. There is Shoma Shintani, so this lap time will count. But of course, they only get 3 lap times. So for the likes of Ian Joyner, session done. For Jonathan Smith, session done. Mark Fletcher, of course, champion leader, session done. And most importantly, the final lap time did not count for Mark Fletcher, which would have been very frustrating. Does Shoma Shintani improve on the second lap, or is he purely trying to build up that temperature? He comes up towards the line, 51.6. So he does improve a little bit and gets ahead of Mark Fletcher, but this could be a big lap time coming in from the driver who started on the most pole position, because he's the only driver with 2 poles, isn't he?
Yeah, and to be honest, he probably has been the fastest driver over the course of the season, but he's sitting down in 3rd with some unfortunate results, sending it over the chicane. He's really trying to come back into this championship as we work our way, obviously, to the end of the mid part of the season. The final 3 races coming up over the next 3 weeks, they're going to be very important indeed. How is he looking? He looks like to be on a solid lap so far, but let's see if he can nail this final corner.
Indeed, one final turn to be navigated here in what will be potentially an even shortened qualifying session, because most drivers have gone out a lot earlier than I would have expected. I would have thought at least a couple would have left it really late, but Shoma Shintani, not one of those. 51.475, not good enough for pole, good enough for the second row though. Goes ahead of Sam Sanders, but not ahead of Ian Joyner and Jonathan Smith. So still pretty handy for Ian Joyner. It looks like it might be a first pole of the season.
Yeah, this is lovely from the driver, who's obviously not quite as high in the championship as he would have wanted. He's down in 10th position, some 95 points off as it stands, so he needs some good results. And on a track where the lap times are close, that is actually quite impressive to get up to the top, because you might be only half a second back for Sam Sanders half a tenth back for Sam Sanders in 4th place, but that half a tenth around here is even more difficult to gain.
Yeah, there is a few stats about Ian Joyner in this that kind of it feels kind of baffling. It just shows how this championship's been. No pole positions. Fair enough. Pole positions have been hard to grab. No victories. Again, fair enough. No podiums. That seems crazy, because Ian Joyner has had some really good speed. Like I say, 10th in the championship as well. That is a surprise for a driver who has been pretty high up quite a lot in qualifying and has shown some really good speed. So this could be a turnaround round for Joyner, potentially in this championship. Maybe can move up further up on the points table. Is behind Hans Jakob Siversen-Mollat, who is down in 9th position. So there is a few shocks and twists and turns in this point scores, with, of course, Mark Fletcher at the top of the standings. No shocks in that one, really.
Yeah, absolutely not. It's a crazy track, and I can't wait to see how the racing is going to go, especially when we get to the reverse grid race. These lap times are going to be so crucial indeed. But let's see a bit of a pole lap actually from Ian Joyner as he works his way through. And of course, with the gaps being so close, you've got to be just absolutely perfect on every single one of these corners.
Yeah, indeed, really. That chucks it right over there. I had no fear of the chicane. I think that's probably because I think Joyner had set a pretty decent banker lap earlier on, fully committed as we crest what is effectively the top of the hill at Clark, now onto the railway straight. I mean, this is a committed lap.
It really is. Let's see what his line is in this final corner. Breaks in nice and deep. Gets a big touch there on the apex and goes perfectly to the edge of the curb. So no, and actually the shortest run to the line, keeps it to the left, but no sort of bobbles, keeps that momentum going up to the line. And it's all those little thousandths of a second that really count. But I think, yeah, Lewis, that chicane, I mean, that was full commitment. He knew what he was doing and definitely has done the practice to know the racing line through here.
Turned it a little bit earlier than I thought, actually, for Taylor's, the final corner. Was going for a slightly earlier apex, more of a typical line, to be perfectly honest. Normally you see some people going like really deep to really straighten up the exit. But like I say, I mean, for me, that pole lap was decided with the commitment through the chicane. And it was fully committed. And that's the thing, is that you do have to abuse those curbs, and that's kind of a hard thing to kind of do. So a little bit of a slow mo here, going through Duffers at T1, and like I say, it was There's no question marks as to was anything left on the table on that lap. I think it's the important bit.
Yeah, that's I think that's the one thing about a pole lap as well, is it's not only about getting the pole, but it's also getting the satisfaction of it being, you know, basically the best lap that you can do. And I think that was certainly up there with some of them, especially in the conditions. It's so you know, misty out there, but you got to keep focused on those apexes. And let's see this once again over the chicane, getting all four wheels off there momentarily before sending it over the second part as well. And then just look at that. Doesn't even use all of that green Astro as a couple of the drivers did. He had a bit more left on the table, but that's just because it was clean and he already had the car straightened.
Yeah, you don't really want to go out that far just because that's where you can get the off track and invalidate the lap time, which I think is what Mark Fletcher might have done on his qualifying attempt around the Knockhill circuit. We'll take a look then at the starting grid for the first race of the evening. Ian Joyner then on a first pole position here in the Formula 4. Jonathan Smith will start alongside. Shomi Shintani, third in the championship, will start from third position. And Sam Sanders directly behind in fourth, starting alongside all those drivers within a tenth of a second. Hans Jakob Siversen Mollett and Harvey Jones on the third row of the grid. Before we get the title leader, Mark Fletcher, starting from 7th position. He's pretty bad in qualifying, so I don't think that's major a shock. Will be able to work his way through in the race. Ollie Stone will start from 8th position with Crofton Woodhatch in 9th after the double podium at Silverstone. Sondre Mollett looking to at least finish some races this evening with Franek Sikorsky in 11th. Martin Vilk will start from 12th position with a couple more rows left to go. Mike Pollard, Joshua Bagembe, Brandon Loudon, who had a couple of issues in there, and Corioline, all finishing the qualifying session within a second. It's kind of what we expect, and here it is a tight circuit. I expect that even in the British F4, despite the size of the grid, it is, but it being such a short circuit, we kind of expect them to be within that second gap, kind of almost like Brands Indy.
Oh, absolutely. It's ultimately the same style of track where there's really sort of 4 or 5 actual corners. So not much to separate these drivers, as out there on the circuit is 9:13 in the morning, simulating the 15th of May. So yeah, certainly not a bright sunny day, but it is around 20 degrees Celsius. So enough temperature out there for them to have a good time. Because of the shortness of the circuit, there's going to be a lot of laps around here, Lewis, and that means that a lot of times you have to go through the chicane, a lot of times to make mistakes.
It certainly is. Certainly is. I mean, like you say, it's opening up the opportunity for issues. You can see them on the grid getting ready. I mean, what's your game plan for lap 1 if you're starting in the mid-pack? Is it just survival? I mean, especially like getting through that chicane, surely?
I mean, it's just pure instinct. I don't think you can plan it out at this track because, you know, turn 1, 2, 3, all of them are just so difficult. They'll be so tight. They'll be side by side the whole way. You've just got to react to what comes ahead of you. And sometimes there may be a gap that's too small, and unfortunately you get caught up in something. But who is it? Yes, Mark Fletcher, isn't he? He's down in 7th place. That's a little bit of a danger zone for someone who, you know, is looking to compete for the championship.
Right, got 20 seconds or less with them on the grid. Cam, who wins this first race of the evening? Shintani. Fair shout, actually. 3rd position for Shomi Shintani. I'm committing. I'll go Mark Fletcher. I think from 7th place up to the race lead. It's Fletcher. He's a quality racer, and again, you might have to say the likes of Ian Joyner and Jonathan Smith, those starting in the front row. Let us know at home. First race of the evening, then, as the Formula Fords will go into action here north of the border. Ian Joyner on pole position with Jonathan Smith alongside on the front row. We are green flag racing down towards the first corner at Duffers Dip. It is not a good start though from the driver who was starting alongside the front row. Coming back, you've got Shomi Shintani now. Up into 2nd position with Sam Sanders into 3rd. Hans Jakob Siversen Mollett, then Harvey Jones, Mark Fletcher into 6th. So Jonathan Smith did not make the start of the race. Not 100% sure as to why.
Absolutely, and also is a terrible start from Harvey Jones. He went backwards as well, so the top 3 have just got a little bit of breakaway side by side in the background. Some drivers avoid going off. Actually, Bagembe, though, he did not. Through the chicane, he's gone around, and as we come down the railway straight for the first time, it's actually Shintani's looking for the lead.
Yeah, Shintani's getting to the outside, then Ian Joyner going over to the right-hand side of the race circuit. Shomi Shintani tries to fill that one in. Sam Sanders goes to the outside. Ian Joyner's way too deep going into that final corner, though, at Taylor's. And Shomi Shintani then will complete the first lap in the lead. 15 minutes of racing. There will be a lot of laps around here, an absolute lot. I think there'll be 19, maybe even 20 laps of racing as Harvey Jones, maybe more than that, to be fair, as Ian Joyner looks to the outside going down into T1.
Yeah, this is going to be a great race so far. Already dives up the inside. There's Harvey Jones having a look on Mollett for that 4th and 5th position. Has to back out of that one so far. So we go side by side in the background. Stone and Sondre Mollett, have they come out of that? No, they have not. They're all into the barrier. 4 or 5 cars up there. Even 6 going off into the wall. Loads of drivers. Pollard's involved. Martin Vilk as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's be honest, side-by-side with that chicane, it's always going to end in tears. I mean, you've commentated your fair share a little bit to touring cars. I've done my touring car racing round here. I have never seen side-by-side with chicane at work. Ian Joyner then getting passed here by Sam Sanders, who was going a little bit slow there on the exit. And to be fair, Hans Jakob Stevenson Mollett might be able to come through. 3/4 of a second and a lead for Shoma Shintani as he crosses the line to end the second lap. He's already building a gap, and if they're going to fight hard between the lot of them, they are going to lose out here. Harvey Jones to the outside of Hans Jakob Stevenson Mollett as they work their way through the first corner, and it's really more Ian Joyner who's now having to defend. Stevenson Mollett makes the move and up then into third position in the 333. Well, there's Bigembe.
He just lost out on his own, actually, after all of that potential. It was actually just himself losing that rear end already, not getting the right line, as there was the contact. Side by side they go. Huge contact in the background as well. That was Mike Pollard in the yellow machine, absolutely sending it over the backside. But yeah, I mean, side by side just doesn't work. There's just not enough time, not enough space. 6 cars involved in that one.
Yeah, it's just, there's Pollard going straight over the rear end of Martin Vilk. Crofton Woodhatch was in there and had absolutely nowhere to go, although he's still going to the race. Going side by side, Matt Chicane, I'll say it, it's pretty stupid. Going 3 wide in the start finish straight, it's not far away from it. Let's see the moves. Mark Fletch then trying to get through and up into 4th position. Inside line of Ian Joyner as they work their way through Duffer's Dip. Takes an awful lot of the curb, does Fletcher though, into that first corner. And Ian Joyner will hang on the 4th position. Fletch then up to 5th. Harvey Jones down to 6th position. And 8/10 of a second, the lead for Shoma Shintani. I think he will be caught here, but I think Hans Jakob Stevenson Mollett might not get an opportunity at victory, nor will Joyner, Fletcher or Jones behind.
Absolutely, the gaps have really opened up with this battling, as the momentum obviously is lost so much when you go side by side through some corners. Let's have a look at Harvey Jones in your number 15 machine. Goes to the hard outside, doesn't go up the inside for Fletcher. Tries to do a bit of a different line. That's going to get tight, almost wheel-to-wheel contact. Has to back out of that one. But he's certainly gone backwards a little bit so far in this race. Fletcher making moves. The unfortunate thing for Fletcher, though, is once he gets past Joyner, yeah, I think the top 3 is starting to pull away.
Yeah, indeed. And well, I mean, 3 is a question mark, because I don't know if Hans Jakob Stevenson Mollett is kind of close enough. He's on like the edge of slipstream at the moment because of the hard fighting from this group behind. I'm not sure they're going to get an opportunity at this. 11 minutes left to go in the race. There's still plenty of time. The estimation for race length is 18 laps, which I think it might be one more. Jonathan Smith has finally joined the game. He left after qualifying, which is the problem as to why he didn't make the field. I think it's disconnection rather than leaving, and that's why he didn't make the race start. We didn't quite catch that, but that's why he's gone missing. Mark Fletcher then looks to the outside of Ian Joyner going down to the final turn. Can't get through.
He certainly can't, but up towards the front, Sanders is getting a bit closer to Shintani, so that is very exciting indeed. But actually also Mark Fletcher to the outside, coming down towards Duffer's Dip. He tried this the other way around a couple of laps ago, hit the inside curb. He's now going for the up and under to get it on the inside of McIntyre's. That's going to be a lovely move if he can make it up the inside. He's certainly done so. Squeezes Joyner out to the left-hand side, but he's made his way through.
Lovely move there from Fletcher, and just about the right amount of space given as we ride on board with Ian Joyner. Not quite as committed through that chicane as he was in his pole lap. You can understand it. You don't really want to be doing that every single lap in the race. It will bite you. As a big snap of oversteer there from Fletcher, who now has a 2-second gap up to Mollett at the front of the field. 3 retirements from the race then as Sondre Mollett, Martin Vilk and Mike Pollard. Frank Sikorsky also basically is going to be out of the race. But Jonathan Smith, I do believe, has joined the race circuit. He certainly has.
Fair enough, that's getting points on the board, and that is what you need in a championship like this. The driver starting, well, we failed to start from the front row, unfortunately, was not able to take the start of this race, and someone who's been on the podium so far this season definitely needs to obviously try and keep himself in there for the reverse grid race. He'll be coming up shortly, tries to get some extra points there, but that's good sportsmanship as such, coming back out, not just giving up.
Yep, there he is, the 56th then of Jonathan Smith, at least taking to the race. Should have started from second place. No, with the amount of retirements, you never know. Could work his way up inside the top 10 if you get inside the top 12. I mean, the only way he's getting inside the top 10 is other retirements, by the way. I'm not saying he's going to work his way up there by driving.
Already P12, though. Already P12.
But this is the thing. A couple more retirements. He's in that reverse grid draw, and potentially it could be 10. It's just as likely as any of the other numbers. And so, yeah, that could help. But we'll have to wait and see as the defensive line comes in from Joyner. I think that's more trying to break the slipstream with Harvey Jones behind.
Yeah, John is losing time from Fletcher, so Fletcher has got good speed. Once again, just missing that little bit in qualifying, but his racecraft and his just general race speed and tyre wear, I guess, as well, is looking pretty good. In the background, Bigembe and Woodhatch for P10, P11, they've been swapping around. Woodhatch, who got double podium back at Silverstone, now trying to work his way through, but hasn't quite been able to find his way as Joshua holds on to P10.
There's definitely going to be a fight for third position by the end of the race. The 333 is being caught down by the 111. The gap's now 1.4 seconds. It was 2 seconds. Here's Crofton Woodhatch. They're trying to make the move on Joshua Bigembe. Was involved in that 5-car, 6-car incident going through the chicane, as was a little bit, I think, Bigembe. But with the better run, and there is the lift. The 52 says, get on with it. Bye, as Woodhatch works his way past.
Certainly does. That'll be one of the easiest moves, but he is having a bit of a blinking issue there, so maybe just doesn't want to get involved and cause any incidents. So Woodhatch is a bit of a lonely run to the end, as Oliver Stone in P9 is also 9 seconds up the road. But who is getting close is Sanders, inside 4 tenths now. Shintani's not going to have an easy victory today. We spoke to Sam a few times in the interview booth. He's looking very strong this season, but needs to try and get past the 27 to get this race victory.
Does have a wise head on his shoulders, though. Has been at the position to potentially go for a whole host of race victories thus far this season. Has battled in that kind of area. He obviously has 3 podiums, 0 victories though. He's been a little bit patient when it comes to those opportunities. I think as the season goes on, you get a little bit less patient for those opportunities. You think, I really would like to win one now. So I think Sam Sanders might go for a bit more of a move in this one. That said, Knockhill's quite a hard place to find an opportunity if you don't make a mistake.
Absolutely. It's an easy one to make the mistake, but if the car ahead doesn't, it's also therefore a difficult one, as they both make a mistake there through the chicane. But yes, it's certainly a difficult one to get a normal clean overtake. He's lost a bit of time actually on this previous lap, a good 2, almost 3 tenths of a second, as they're clearly both pushing. But one thing we know from Shoma actually is he's generally fairly good in these pressure situations. Of course, he has been involved in a few incidents this season, which is why he's down in 3rd in the championship, compared to potentially where he should be. But he is good leading from the front.
But he does have the most victories of anyone this season. He's got 4 victories, looking for a 5th, is Shoma Shintani. And because of how the drop scores work, genuinely could actually be properly contending for this championship, because we're still waiting for all the drop scores and stuff. It's way too early to be talking title race. Realistically, it's within 30 points, 28 points off of the top of the standings, but then it's just how the drop scores are going to work in favour. I think Shoma Shintani could come through here and could actually win the whole thing. I'm not joking. Oh! Genuinely very quick, as there goes Sam Sanders. He's gone for a spin.
He's lost the rear end, coming through Clark, all on his own. Mollett goes through Fletcher, Joyner, Jones as well, and probably Loudon by the time he gets up. That is such a shame for the driver who's chasing down for the race victory, and it's not even going to be a top 5 as Corey Lane from the back of the grid gets up into P7 as Sanders dropped to P9.
That is such a shame, and in all of that, Mark Fletcher is called up to the back of Hans Jakob Siversen. Mollett looks to the inside as we head down towards Duffers Dip and T1. I think Mollett might be backing out of this one and might just secure the podium. There's the inside move coming in from Fletcher. I mean, it wasn't exactly gifted from Hans Jakob Siversen Mollett, but it is the move complete. The 111 works his way through from 7th position on the grid up to 2nd position, courtesy of the gift there coming in from Sam Sanders. Brandon Loudon might be out of the race as well. Well,
he's had some sort of issue, hasn't he? He's dropped down into P9. Let's see this actually first from Sanders on the curb on the entry. Lost the rear very, very early, but was not able to save it. Did keep it out of the barrier, though. So we're going to see what happened to Loudon coming down in towards McIntyre. Also, just losing the rear end. Very similar, maybe on the curb too.
Maybe. Oh, don't, just completely stationary. Oh, I did think he did get back going again, but I think might have had just a bit more of a problem there with getting back going again. For Sanders, I mean, look, the thing is, this circuit is one that bites, and when you're trying to keep up with Shoma Shintani, like I say, it does bite, and it's certainly a bit hard. The British F4 esports drivers, I think we're going to be seeing a fair amount of that this evening. It is going to be really, really tough for the British F4 esports as well. I will say for Shoma Shintani, did start the Formula... Whoa! Big moment there from Fletcher. And then out wide goes Hans Jakob Siversen Mollett. Fletcher did take part in the Formula Ford Festival, as did Shoma Shintani. A couple of others on the grid also took to the grid of the iRacing Formula Ford Festival, along with Callum Foyce, a Formula 3 race winner, along with plenty of the British F4 esports stars as well. and it was Shoma Shintani who started the feature race from the pole position. Unfortunately, didn't get a good result on that, but it just shows the speed and consistency of Shintani in this car. That was what was raced around Brands Indy, of course.
Absolutely, and it's a very interesting car indeed, but you can just see how all these drivers are on the limit. Look how easy Sanders and Loudon there lost the rear end, and all of the steering corrections we were saying when we saw the onboard lap with Mollett as well. It's a very tricky car, and you're really just balancing that rear end all the time. It's so on the limit, and these drivers are pushing themselves even further towards that limit. It is very difficult to keep it in check, but 3 minutes remain, and I don't think it's completely over for this second place, but Fletcher is holding on quite nicely. But yeah, Shintani, just keep it on the road. You've got a 3-second lead.
I mean, Ian Joyner could be closing down for a first podium of the season. You've got to remember, 4th position at the moment, solid result for Joyner, but isn't that far behind, is lurking in the background, is potentially ready to pounce. But again, where is the opportunity for him to pounce as such? It might come from a mistake from Hans-Jakob Siversen-Mollett, but again, where is the opportunity on that one? We're on the 15th lap of proceedings here in this race, so an expected 3 more laps. Could be close to actually doing 19 laps here, to be fair. Depends on what Shoma Shintani does. It'll be very close on the line.
Yeah, it depends exactly on the pace. We'll see when we get there. Is a big snap from Stone there as he works his way through Clark. So definitely a tough old circuit out there today. And what can he do? Because he's got Elaine and Sanders just up ahead. So Sanders is still in with a shout on P6. Elaine, as I mentioned earlier, from the back of the grid, but he still has the pace of Sanders, who was up there fighting for second place. So that just shows you how close the grid is. But Stone needs to try and find a way through.
I will just correct myself. I believe it will be 3 laps from this point. 50 seconds a lap, and Shintani has just crossed the line. So it should be 3 further laps left to go in the opening Formula Ford race of the evening. It's Shintani leading from Fletcher, from Mollett, from Joyner, from Jones, as we look back at the battle for 6th position. Sam Sanders has worked his way up to 6th position. Corey Elaine and Ollie Stone also in tow. I'll join you on giving a shout out to Corey Elaine from the, like I said, from the rear of the field to have worked their way up to 7th position. Solid drive for them.
And it's more so keeping the pace of these drivers. That is very good indeed. It's not like just gifted the place and then dropping back until the naturally front runners get there. He actually has got some good pace as you get to 1 minute to go. As you see the positions gained, Corey Lane up 9, Fletcher in second place up 5 as well. Even Shintani up 2 from the start. Of course, one of them was gifted from Jonathan Smith, who unfortunately is down in P12. Big defensive line to the inside there from Corey Lane as he tries to hold on to this. Oliver Stone is getting close. He's putting the pressure on with just 2 laps to go.
You could put both me and Cam's iRating between the iRating difference of Corey Lane and Ollie Stone. It is 1.3k iRated for Corey Lane, which is like basically what you get right at the start. It's Ricky 2.7, so it's basically basic iRating, so fair play. Even though Corey Lane has got plenty of experience, at least in iRacing, we've seen it before. Ollie Stone, 6.5k. So there's a fair amount in there as Shoma Shintani will cross the line to grab the white flag and start the final lap of this race.
Yeah, and what a drive has been from Shintani. He had to work his way up towards the front, but then when he's got there, he hasn't looked back, and he's got a 3-second lead. Is this going to be the run, though, from Ollie Stone? He's getting the slipstream down towards Duffer's Dip.
Yeah, Corey Lane then takes the defensive line down to T1 at Duffer's Dip. The outside line coming in. Ollie Stone can't do it. Going for the up and under of the race down towards the left-hander at 2, then into 3. But defensive masterclass at the moment. As long as he doesn't make a mistake, that's brilliant stuff.
That really is, and now he's got to keep it through the chicane. Don't lose the momentum, don't lose it up towards Clark, but then it goes off into the gravel. It's going to be one final opportunity down in towards the hairpin for Ollie Stone. Can he get the run? Bit of a different line as we've seen Shintani come across the line.
Yep, indeed. So Shintani then through the final corner. The driver who sits 3rd in the championship. It will be a 5th victory of the season for Shoma Shintani, who crosses the line to take the top step here at Knockhill. Mark Fletcher will be good enough to go up the 2nd position and could probably have fought for the victory if his qualifier wasn't so poor. Hans-Jakob Siversen-Mollett will round out the podium. Ian Joyner couldn't quite do it. Corey Lane was able to keep Oliver Stone at bay, but a superb drive from Shoma Shintani once again.
He's really come for this championship, isn't he? That number 27. He's won the most races so far this season, and definitely looking good indeed. And let's give a shout out to Jonathan Smith. Coming across the line 4 laps down, he went back out on the track. He's going to get a 12th position. He was hoping potentially he might have got inside the top 10 and get some reverse grid positions, but either way, he's going to be there from P12 as we reset the grid.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, you say reset the grid, it's time for the spinny wheel. Of course, the numbers between 5 and 10 put onto the wheel, spun round, and this is to decide the reverse grid pole sitter. What's it going to be? It's not going to be 10. That's going to fly past. Might be 5. I think it might be 5. It is going to be 5. So some drivers would have hoped for that. The smallest reverse grid possible here at Knockhill, which means obviously that the British F4 Esports is going to have the large reverse grid, right? Of course. So the top 5 will be reversed for the second race coming up this evening. Shomi Shintani then will be dropped back to 5th position, and Harvey Jones, who won for reverse grid pole earlier on in the season, will be starting from the reverse grid pole himself. Mark Fletcher, Hans Jakob, and Mike then will join the podium. We'll chat to those 3 in just a moment. Ian Joyner and Harvey Jones rounding out the top 5 with Sam Sanders after that spin, still up to 6th position. Corioline having that battle late on with Ollie Stone. He had a mistake on the final lap, dropping 1.4 seconds behind. Brandon Loudon, issues in qualifying, but still ended up inside the top 10 with 9th place. Crofton Woodhatch involved in that 5-6 car incident that took out Franek Sikorsky, Sondre Mollett, Martin Vilk and Mike Pollard from the race. Jonathan Smith did not start from 2nd position and so ended up 4 laps down and finishing in 12th position. Joshua Bagembe up there in 11th place, the last driver on the lead lap. Let's just go for it. Let's start interviewing people. Let's start talking with Shomi Shintani once again for the 5th time a victor in the Formula Fords here. What an epic drive. I mean, again, put it into words for us. How was that behind the wheel?
Yeah, I was like bit scared because I haven't good base last year, but I had some luck and pull away the behind. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
Let's roll things back to a few days ago when obviously you did the Formula Ford Festival, and in the final, of course, you started from pole position in the broadcast race, but of course it didn't go quite your way. A bit of an incident in there. How do you put to an end to that disappointment and then refocus for this and then come out on top again?
Yeah, I mean, my main focus is this series. Formula 4 Festival was just a bit of fun for me. So yeah, it's not better.
Obviously, 5 races left to go this season. 1 more here at Knockhill, and then 2 more rounds. 1 at Donington and 1 at Brands Hatch. You're starting to look really, really fast. How confident are you of maybe going after the title?
I have some confidence for the championship, but still we have 5 races. Anything can happen, so let's see.
Well, Shoma, maybe we'll be catching up with you after the races. A top 5 reverse grid for the next race this evening. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
Shomi Shintani then on top again in the Formula Fords, of course. Let's drag in someone who unfortunately cannot qualify. It's Mark Fletcher back in the booth. 7th place in qualifying. Mark, my goodness. If you qualified higher up the grid, you might have battled for victory, but a bit of a frustrating one maybe in qualifying. Still managed to work your way through to 2nd. Positive vibes still, right?
Yeah, we'll go for it. There's a trend, isn't there, really? Useless in qualifying, we'll say. But yeah, decent race. Pace was good. And yeah, it's so nerve-wracking going up that sort of uphill chicane every lap.
Yeah, I mean, look, you were still my pick for the victory, and you let me down. That's fine. Shomi Shintani's looking pretty strong at the moment, isn't he? 5 victories now this season. You got your eye on him potentially as a main championship protagonist to go against?
Yeah, and it's 3 on the bounce, isn't it? Because he had a clean sweep last week, and yeah, he's looking like he's going to do it again this week. Yeah, it's got to be Shoma now. I don't know what the points happened with Lewis, with obviously him over in Italy racing at the minute. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Just stay out of trouble and try and get to the end.
What are you expecting from the next race? It's only a top 5 reverse grid, so it's a small one. You're starting from 4th place. It's okay.
Oh, that'll do. Yeah. I've just got to keep with Shoma. I think he's shown his pace this evening. Hans had a lot of damage in that first one, but yeah, the amount that those boys put in of practice, they're going to be up there as well.
Well, best of luck, Mark. We'll catch up with you potentially after the next race.
Perfect. Cheers, Lewis. See you soon.
There we go, Mark Fletcher onto the podium once again this season. And of course, let's catch up with our final podium finisher. Of course, Hans Jakob Stevens-Moller. And again, excellent drive, third place. Bit of damage we were hearing there from Mark Fletcher. You might have had a bit of damage throughout that race. I mean, that's kind of one of the things with Knockhill. There's a bit of wheel-to-wheel combat. Let's go with that. Where'd you get the damage from?
Yeah, I was. I saw that Shoma did a move on the last corner, and I got bunched up, and I braked earlier than I usually do, but I couldn't stop it in the end because Ian was keep slowing, and because of that, so I think I hit his barely hit his gearbox, but I had no straight line speed after that. So when Mark came, which was inevitable, I just slotted back behind him and tried to not give him any to lose any time, so I could save the fourth place, I was thinking, until Sam was just lost it in the second last corner. So I'm pretty happy with that because I didn't feel like I had any speed at all in this race.
In these cars that kind of move around so much, how hard is it kind of keeping them pointed forward basically all the way through the race around Knockhill, which is obviously a very difficult circuit at the best of times anyway?
Yeah, it's really hard, and I don't know, like it's very hard to lose it, especially over the chicane, and also the last corner is pretty hard to not get wheel spin. And also, actually, the first corner I'm struggling a bit with to carry the speed without losing the rear, so it's pretty tricky actually, this track. But I put in a lot of laps, but showed in practice, but not too much in the race.
Now, obviously, we saw, speaking of practice, we saw you towards the end of practice, had a little bit of a view. You were watching the broadcast a little bit before you went into qualifying. Was that just a bit of a mental reset for you, getting into the rhythm for the qualifying session?
Yeah, I just had to relax a little bit, and I was watching Shoma a little bit, what he was doing, and I was just watching the commentary, to be honest. Jill.
Oh, well, there we go. Thanks, Hans, and good luck in the next race. You'll be starting from third place, just to pass on that news to you.
Nice. That's a good reverse. Sweet.
Yeah. Not too bad.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Thank you to Hans Jakob Stevens-Moller, and, of course, to all of our podium finishers. I mean, Cameron, it was an exciting opening race for the evening, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and I'm really looking forward to how these reverse grid races are going to go. Of course, a smaller number, so actually not too bad from the carnage point of view, but certainly big talking points. Sanders there making a big mistake, and also he finished in 6th, so he just missed out on the reverse grid as well. So it's kind of like a double negative as such. Not only did he not get the 2nd place, but now he's going to lose effectively or potentially more points as well. So just showing you how easy it is to make mistakes around here.
Yeah, it really is a brutal track at that. And like I say, with just the top 5 reversed, and Sam's missing out on that. We'll have to wait and see how the next race is going to unfold. Of course, it is always quite exciting. I'm sure quite a lot of you watching as well did join us for the iRacing Formula Ford Festival a little while ago. Cam didn't want to jump in behind the wheel. He was too scared of all that. But of course, it is Black Friday. There's a massive sale going on at the moment on iRacing, which is always a bit of fun. So again, you can see at the bottom, 25% off 1 or 2 year subscriptions, 50% off for new users as well. So if you're new to iRacing, you're kind of tuning into this and thinking, I want to take part, this is definitely the best time. Cam's blowing all of his money on Black Friday deals for golf, but it's your time to jump in and maybe spend some of that money on iRacing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, it's great fun. And the cool thing is that obviously we do Formula Fords today. We've got Formula Fords a little bit later on, but there's so many different types of categories of racing. So whatever is your fancy, even racing on the dirt as well. It doesn't just have to be on the tarmac. So plenty of options out there.
Yeah, I've just picked up a new wheel that I've been chucking around on iRacing a little bit recently. It's good fun. Again, just jumping every now and then. Been obviously trying my hand in the Super Formula Lights. So if you fancy racing against me, I probably won't be in there. I'm too scared. It's fine. It's fine. I can beat Cam in touring cars.
In touring cars, yes. Other things we'll have to get involved in that commentators race one day.
Well, I'm avoiding it like the plague. I don't want to race Arjuna. He's playing. Speaking of golf, he's playing a lot of golf, isn't he? 3 days in a row. Crazy. Of course, the next race will be coming up in just a moment. We're just kind of moving over into the session. Cameron, Roger, it's not overcast.
It's not. As there's Mark Fletcher going for a spin. Fortunately, this is practice. Don't you worry. He will be out there on the circuit probably when we get to the race. But yeah, that's a lot nicer. This is unknown weather up in Scotland, but this is much more like you can actually see the cars going around the racetrack. A much clearer day. I'm sure the drivers will be loving that one.
Yeah, I remember I was racing on another simulator, and you'll know the simulator is being overcast almost all of the time. When you're doing like the live weather, it's just constantly overcast. It's really annoying. I told them, I was like, is it going to rain at all this evening? And they were like, no, it's not. And I was like, can we move off of live weather and just make it sunny? Because if it's not going to rain, what's the point in trying to do like the what's the weather forecast? What's the blah blah blah? I'm like, can we just go with sunny? Because I'm depressed of driving in the British overcast. Let's go for some nice sunshine. Temperature-wise, it's going to be low. I don't care, but I just want to see some blue skies.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just how the British weather is sometimes, I guess. But yeah, it's great to see the cars out on track. A couple of minutes left in the practice session. But I wonder, is there really much you can learn at this point? Or is it, the pace is already set, I guess, from the practice already in the 2 weeks you had before this race?
I always kind of went out in warm-up and practice and stuff just to stop twiddling my thumbs. You go to the loo. Otherwise, what are you doing for the next 5 minutes? You kind of just want to get out of there. It's why, like with this, unless it's raining, you won't see people like rushing out of the interviews or whatever. They're just kind of like, they know their speed. Like I said, they're not learning anything. This is just kind of just to see what the track's like and then just kind of stay in the rhythm.
Absolutely, just keep. I think rhythm. Actually, yeah, that's the thing. You don't want to sit there, go cold, and then forget about it. Especially as there's no qualifying session before this race. You just jump straight into the grid. So these extra couple of laps that you do might be important, especially when every single lap is going to count. Absolutely sending it over there from Sanders to get back in the rhythm to try and obviously focus on not spinning out at Clark and hopefully getting up onto the podium from P6.
Do you know, I actually think that Sanders is a kind of guy who can actually win this race, right? You know, when you've had that disappointing previous race, you've got Shomi Shintani directly ahead of you, you've got Mark Fletcher directly ahead of you. This is the kind of race where you're like, right, nothing to lose now. Let's absolutely send this. Let's absolutely send this.
Absolutely, and especially when he's 5th place in the championship, some 50 points off Fletcher. He does need to get some points. He's had the unfortunate first race. I'm about to say bad, but I'll say unfortunate first race. So he definitely needs to get some points back. And at a track like this, where he clearly knows he's got some speed, he was chasing down Shintani, who easily won the first race. He might as well just go for it, see what happens, send it over that chicane a few times, and hopefully gain some positions.
Yeah, indeed. Why not? Why not go for the full send? Like I say, a long way off Mark Fletcher in the championship. So why not? Can't confirm it. There's almost no point in kind of talking about the points at the moment because of how the drop scores and stuff work. With Mark Fletcher is at the top of the championship with 276 points now after that race. Shomi Shintani, awkwardly, because of how the drop scores work, I think awkwardly has actually dropped back on points because of how it's taken round and stuff. It's not worth talking about because we're in the middle of a round and how drop scores work. It's all very complicated. Depends how this race goes. Can I just say one thing? I don't know if this is controversial opinion. I can't stand drop scores. I understand it in this, but my goodness, it makes our life hard in a commentary.
Yes, it is an interesting one because, yes, you may gain points, but then you actually end up losing because of where your other results are. It is an interesting one. But the biggest thing is when you start winning, the likes of Shintani, that win doesn't really necessarily mean as much to someone else because he's already got the points elsewhere. But for the likes of Mark Fletcher, that result there is negating one of his bad results. So he's also effectively gaining as such with his average. So it's a very interesting one how it's going to work out. But we're going into race 2, top 5 reverse grid. Got Shintani coming from P5, trying to get a double win for the 2nd round in a row.
Yep, indeed. Let's talk it quickly through the grid then. Harvey Jones starts from the reverse grid pole position. Ian Joyner then in second. Hans Jakob Simpson-Moller onto the podium in the previous race. 3rd position in this one. Mark Fletcher and Shomi Shintani, the top 3 from the race, all reverse there. Sam Sanders then, after the spin, will start from 6th position with Coriolan's great drive up to 7th position from the rear of the field. Ollie Stone in 8th. Brandon Loudon and Crofton Woodhatch involved in that early incident in the previous race. Joshua Bagembe and Jonathan Smith, originally slated to start on the front row in the previous race, will be starting this one from 12th. Frank Sikorsky, Martin Vilk and Mike Pollard, the 15 drivers to take to the grid. They're all in position and they're all basically ready to go. Harvey Jones has got a victory this season. Will be looking for another one. Ian Joyner started from the pole position in the previous race. Could be looking at a victory ahead of him. Cam, very quickly, who wins this race?
Mark Fletcher.
Mark Fletcher, there we go. I'm going to go Shomi Shintani. He's getting the clean sweep for the 2nd consecutive week. Let's see what goes as we head north of the border and we go racing north of the border. And it's a great start from Harvey Jones. Ian Joyner straight into the slipstreamers. Already pulled over to one side of the circuit. Hans Jakob Siversen Mollett trying to make it 3 wide down towards the first corner as Mark Fletcher looks to the outside. Mollett with the inside run on Ian Joyner. Already a big lead coming in from Harvey Jones. They work their way down now into the 3rd corner. Ian Joyner on the outside line, still going side by side and unable to complete the move as Hans Jakob Siversen Mollett. They go back to single file as they throw it through the chicane.
Yeah, too much curb there from Mollett. Loses that position. We get almost a little bit side-by-side up towards Clark, but no one deciding to go for the overtake just yet. As you're mentioning, though, huge run for Jones. So Joyner's going to be just looking in his mirrors as Mollett obviously sees that gap and is going to try and get past to make sure they close down on Jones up ahead.
Yep, indeed. There's a couple of moves happening in the background. Brandon Loudon trying to get past Coriolan, but more so defending from Crofton Woodhatch, to be perfectly honest, as they head their way through the final corner. Back out onto the start-finish straight once more. Bit of a look coming in from the likes of Jonathan Smith trying to get to the outside of Joshua Bagembe, going down into the first corner, and Smith might complete that move as we head down into Duffers Dip.
Oh, there's a load of curb being used there by Loudon. That's going to open up the opportunity for Woodhatch down the inside. Not enough to get through, but enough to make Loudon go offline. Does that slow him down as we come up the hill over the chicane? Or a bit too much curb actually for Woodhatch. He's completely off into the gravel. Surely someone's going to come up the inside, but I think he might just about be okay. Actually, maybe not. Huge send for Jonathan Smith as he gets involved with that one. Bagembe goes through as well.
Yep, indeed. Like you say, 3 wide now as Jonathan Smith gets to the full inside. Crofton Woodhatch, Joshua Bagembe also either side of all that. A bit of contact and a bit of squeezing. Frank Sikorsky trying to get to the outside, centered on the brakes. 3 wide, still through the final corner. Jonathan Smith through into 10th position. Big slide, a big power slide really off the corner, I think, from Mike Pollard, who's going to lose out to Martin Vilk as well on the race down into turn 1. But that was pretty chaotic as Jonathan Smith still isn't done in that battle. Crofton Woodhatch to the outside. Could be contact here. There is contact here. Crofton Woodhatch and Jonathan Smith make contact at Duffers Dip.
I wonder if Smith just cut across it towards turn 2 a little bit too much, and unfortunately he spun around. He has continued on though. He might have done a bit of a cartwheel moment, but he's got back on all fours, and he is now from the back of the field in P15. Got some changes up towards the front as well as Mollett jumps down into P5 with Fletcher and Shintani getting past.
Yep, indeed. Sam Sutters is kind of being a little bit patient here, sitting off the back just a touch. You've got the top 2 breaking away a touch. No worry, they will be caught in all this. Harvey Jones then leads. Ian Joyner behind. Mark Fletcher, Shomi Shintani, Hans Jakob Siversen Mollett, Sam Sutters, and then Ollie Stone. If you were wondering as to which driver is missing, of course, it's Sondre Mollett. There is the contact there. I say, just sent round and got back going again. See it more from this angle, Cam.
Yeah, there's a big chunk of the curb on the inside from Smith. He had a bit of a wiggle, came, even just half a car whip to the left-hand side. That was enough to make the contact, and they can continue on. So that could have been way worse. And unfortunately, from the front row, is now back to the back once again as he gets past Pollard and puts Pollard to the back of the field.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a look for Coriolan behind Ollie Stone, Joshua Bagembe and Martin Vilk. Battle over 11th position at the moment with Bagembe coming out on top. Is there going to be a move, though, for the race lead here? Harvey Jones starting to feel the pressure in the Alpha Esports car. Ian Joyner sat on the rear and looking for a potential move. Mark Fletcher's closing his way up. Cam's choice for a victory in this one. I chose him in the previous race. He didn't win. Cam's choosing him in this one. Of course, this is the one where he's going to go for it potentially as they flick over to the left on the exit of pit road and then right down into the first opening corner of the circuit at Duffers Dip.
Yeah, it's a big train for this lead. So obviously with the reverse grid, technically the slightly slower drives up towards the front, that causes a little bit of bunching, but all these drivers are so fast indeed. But very interesting to see how that one works as Mollett loses another position. Sanders gets through. That must be through the chicane. A position was made. Loudon's gone off as well in the background. So that is not good for the 2 cars in blue. Mollett going down and Loudon as well.
Yeah, Loudon's definitely been off, and I think he's brushed the barrier. Les look to the inside, more defending though, coming in from me and Joyner, although I will say the door was opened by Harvey Jones going through the final corner. We're side by side for the race lead. Jones on the right-hand side of your screen, Ian Joyner on the left in that bright yellow car. Mark Fletcher's closing his way in. Shoma Shintani staring at it and doesn't want any part of it. The 111 of Mark Fletcher to the outside going into the first corner. He's ticked off Ian Joyner, who makes a big slide going through the first turn, and now looks to the inside to work our way down into 3. As Harvey Jones continuing to lead though, but this time it's from Fletcher.
That was so sketchy. Here is Loudon getting on the back of a lane and going around. Not sure if there was contact or just following up a little bit too close indeed, but what risk being taken by the 111. And that's a good one because he's put in Joyner in between them as Joyner drops back once more in the background against Sanders and Mollett once more going side by side.
Yeah, Sanders might actually make the move here as there's almost 4 wide as there was Shoma Shintani making a move on Ian Joyner. He sent it in. Oh, Sanders has been round again. Oh, he's made contact as well. I think it was Ollie Stone trying to work his way through. But for Sanders, that's a second spin at a different corner this time. He is having a frustrating round here at Knockhill. This circuit can do it to you.
Certainly can. Shintani up into 3rd place, Joyner down to 4th as we work our way down towards turn 1 as Sanders loses another position to Pollard down into P14. It's all changed in the last couple of laps here as we work our way in towards the final 10 minutes of this round already, and Fletcher is looking good to get towards the front. If he can do so before Shintani catches up as well, that'll be very good, but Shintani's going to be on them very shortly for a huge train for the lead.
He'll want to take the lead immediately, Fletcher, so that he can hope that Shoma Shintani and Harvey Jones will actually battle a little behind, allowing him to then clear out into the distance. But the one thing you can't afford is damage. That's what Hans-Jakob Stevens-Moller had in the previous race, and he said the damage was causing him straight line speed issues. And there's one thing you don't want around here, it's straight line speed issues, because this start-finish straight, you do go pretty quick down towards Duffer's Dip. There's a look to the inside. Shoma Shintani was trying to do defensive line coming in from Harvey Jones. He's been perfect on defence thus far. Mark Fletcher going for the up and under as we head down towards McIntyre. Can't find a way through. Did not want to do a dive at the inside of the 3rd corner of the track, and there is Ollie Stone out of the race.
Yeah, big shame for Stone, who's very fast as well. Interesting lines being taken there through the chicane. I think that was Shintani, completely different line to Fletcher. Fletcher taking on defensive though into Clark. That's going to lose him time to Jones ahead, although he will get the slipstream and is a big run down the railway straight. Can Jones hold on to this one? I think it's really looking at Shintani trying to get through for second.
Yeah, indeed, there he is, filling the mirrors and sending it down the inside. Fletcher's trying to make the move, but the outside run from Harvey Jones has actually been quite good at the final corner. That's how he fended off Ian Joyner earlier on in the race, who himself was having a little bit of a look down the inside of Shoma Shintani. The top 5 separated by 1 second. Hans-Jakob Stevens-Moller is definitely back a part of the battle. You can see the battle group there. Big snap of oversteer there at Duffer's Dip coming in from Harvey Jones, and he comes off the line coming down to the McIntyres, and Mark Fletcher could not get to the inside. Shoma Shintani is being very patient here, but we know Shintani is the kind of driver who's patient till a point, and then he will go full send out of nowhere.
Yeah, Jones is definitely not fast enough to lead this train to the end, I wouldn't expect. That's 2 laps in a row now where he's almost dropped it coming through the first corner. Duffer's Dip to the inside is going to be for Fletcher. This is going to be crucial that he gets this one made, and he's finally going to get past Jones up the inside of that final corner. Does he run him wide a little bit? Yes, he does, but Shintani surely is going to follow him through. He might get a bit of a bump draft, though.
Yeah, I mean, there is going to be a little bit of assistance here coming in from Shoma Shintani. No, there isn't, as he makes it 3 wide, drives 2 wheels onto the grass as he's trying to get past Mark Fletcher. Now Shoma Shintani backs out. Fletcher has the inside line of Harvey Jones, kicks up a little bit of oversteer as he tries to wrestle the car to the speed of the apex down at Duffer's Dip, and it's still going to be Harvey Jones leading. Absolutely crazy battling here at the front of the Formula Ford for the second race of the evening.
I don't understand how the number 15 is still leading this race. I thought Fletcher was slam dunk through. Maybe the Shintani getting involved in that battle didn't help him with the defensive line, but harsh defense to the right-hand side of that start-finish line. Shintani's going to have to work his way through. Can Fletcher get this done this time?
Again, wild stuff. Fletcher's going to look to the inside. I think he's kind of wanting Harvey Jones to go defensive there so we can have the outside run, but he's not getting it as Joyner was defending just a touch from Hans-Jakob Stevens-Moller. And there is a spin in the background. It's Franek Sikorsky.
Yeah, he's gone around. Vilks got involved. I think there's some contact was made with Smith, but it seems like they've got through. Coming across the line in towards turn 1. Fletcher round the outside. Is he going to go for it? No, he's going to try and do the up and under down towards McIntyre's. Get to the inside. Huge send on the brakes. Has to pull into second place, though.
McIntyre's is such a short braking zone, though. That's the problem. Crofton Woodhatch has been round, though, going down into turn 2, at least through the first corner. And there is the mistake. Harvey Jones goes out wide in the exit of the chicane. And that is the opportunity Mark Fletcher needed. We head up through the right-hander and out onto the railway straight. So the move was complete at Clark, and this could be it. There comes Shomu Shintani trying to work his way through as well. Fletcher with the inside line. Shintani's going to go full send here, and Shomu Shintani with a big move could make it 3 wide. Big kick as he comes through onto the brakes, and Fletcher will work his way through into the race lead. Still side by side for second.
Yeah, too late on the brakes. Here comes Ian Joyner, actually, from 4th place, trying to get through contact almost with Harvey Jones. Shintani to the inside line as they continue to be side by side in the braking zone. So Fletcher has got the lead. Shintani up into 2nd place. Jones losing 2 places there because of his mistake down at the chicane. But it's really a 5-car battle with Mollett still on the back of this. Here's Sikorsky just losing that rear end, and unfortunately contact was made there with further cars as Martin Vilk in the 51.
Yeah, and here's what happened to Crofton Woodhatch. Inside line of Jonathan Smith loses it on the inside line. A little bit of contact with Corey Aline coming through as well. Absolutely crazy stuff. 3/4 of a second, the lead there for Mark Fletcher. Harvey Jones and Shomu Shintani did make contact on the start-finish straight because Harvey Jones was holding his ground and Shomu Shintani was like, get back over that side of the circuit. Just a bit of brushing between them. Almost a touring car-esque driving between the two of them. Mark Fletcher desperate to end this win streak at the moment that is 3 victories long for Shomu Shintani.
Yeah, this is some crazy action. It has just calmed down a little bit on this previous lap, though. Fletcher clearly got the speed. He's pulling away as well as Shintani. So Jones was the blockage there. We come back to some craziness in towards turn number 1. Side by side, we go with Bugembe. He's got Mike Pollard on the back of him. This is for P9, P10. Pollard up the inside into McIntyre's. He gets that one done, and he's up into P9. But Bugembe, side by side, we go up towards the chicane. Someone's going to have to back out of this. It is Bugembe as the 73 holds that place.
Yeah, again, as we saw in the first race, you can't make it side by side into that chicane, but great move there from Mikey Pollard to have made that move to the inside. Here comes a look from Ian Joyner, looking for his first podium of the season. Harvey Jones with a victory earlier on in the season. I think it was Alton Park, if I remember correctly, but at the moment, Mark Fletcher looks to try and return to the victory circle, of course, crossing the line once more, starting the 14th lap of proceedings here. Still plenty of time. It is going to be an 18-lap race. There's still basically 5 laps left to go in this one. It's definitely not done yet, Cam.
They go quickly, though, the laps around here, as Fletcher sends it over the curbs. It's crazy, the different lines the drivers are taking there. Some of them straight lining it, some of them trying to actually make it a bit of a flick, but then you have to keep the slide on the exit. Very crazy track around here, as it has just calmed down for the top 3. They've started to pull away a little bit. Joyner just losing 0.6 of a second to Jones, and I wonder if Mollett is fancying his chances now as that gap is opening up ahead.
Yeah, I mean, look, if he wants to get onto the podium, Hans Jacob Sims and Mollett needs to get past Ian Joyner pretty quickly. Here's the onboard with Harvey Jones. The reason why it's less hectic is because they've all spread out a little bit and they're kind of struggling to work their way back together again. But Shomu Shintani is closing in on Mark Fletcher. He's using the slipstream. He's closed his way in. It's under half a second now. There's a little bit of an apex miss then from Harvey Jones as they go through McIntyre up to the chicane now. Is Shomu Shintani going full send through the chicane? I don't think so either.
And this comes down to the championship race, Lewis, I think, between Shintani and Fletcher. So it's not just how much does he want this win, it's also about the championship. It would be 6th win of the season, and really he's turning it around. When by the time the drop scores come in, he's going to have a whole chunk of points up towards the front. Fletcher has had a couple of unfortunate results. Obviously that he'll lose from the drop score, but he's also had some other results that were a bit average, so that will bring down his total. Let's see how it works out, though. 2 minutes remaining in the race.
Yeah, like I say, it's going to be very difficult to work out what's happening championship-wise heading into the final couple of rounds as we return to England and return to Donington Park. Of course, missing the Indy layout of Donington Park this season, just running the Grand Prix. That's what we'll be racing at next in just 1 week's time. 1 minute and 40 seconds left to go. 100 seconds of racing around the circuit. Svanek Sikorsky retires from those, or rather I think it's because Ollie Stone's overtaken him from the rear, because he is actually still in the race despite having he just had the damage repaired from earlier on. Shomu Shintani, he's leaving very little on the table here, Cam. He's trying to catch Fletcher, and the gap is closing, but is it closing enough? We'll have, what, 2 laps left to go at the line.
Oh, he was so much later on the brakes there, really spamming the revs as well. You heard it in the background. So he's pushing for this. He's got a couple of laps to go in this race. We will just sneak into 2 more laps remaining as we come across the line. And I think Shintani is slightly faster in the background, though. We are seeing Jones now under threat from Joyner. So Jones is losing speed here. They've dropped Mollett, who's now way off in P5.
Yeah, indeed. They are definitely close, and they will be fighting. Like I say, Ian Joyner looking for his first podium of the season, at least to hold it. There's a lot of curb being taken once more from Shoma Shintani. Mark Fletcher's close to a 4th victory of the season, rather. And like you say, he's a lap away from it. They head out onto the railway straight, or a lap and a bit away from it, should I say. We're going to get the white flag at the end of this lap. Ian Joyner's going to look to the inside of Harvey Jones. They battled earlier on in the race. Is this going to be good from Jones?
Oh, almost contact up the inside. Around the outside is going to be for Jones to hold on to this, as Joyner has not completed the move. We come on to the final lap, though. Shintani's getting the run up towards the first corner. He goes to the inside. It's going to be such a huge send, but Fletcher has the high line. Is it going to make it work? No, it's not. Shintani goes through for the race lead.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple of opportunities left to go, though, for Mark Fletcher. So into McIntyre's, it's Shoma Shintani up to the front of the field. Harvey Jones continues to hold the 3rd position through the chicane now. Full send from Mark Fletcher. Oh, and he nearly got to the inside of Shintani.
Not enough, though, unfortunately. So he's got to get the momentum out of this final corner. Is there going to be any mistakes, any final opportunities here down in towards the hairpin?
There's got to be something here from Fletcher, full send, or it's going to be 4 on the bounce for Shoma Shintani, and it's going to be the double sweep. We've seen that a few times from Henry Moore this season. Deep onto the brake, Shoma Shintani's going to go. Fletcher's trying to square it up and get a good drive out of the corner, but it's not going to be good enough. It's the same 1-2 that we had in the previous race. It is Shoma Shintani on top once again. 6 victories in 2024 for Shoma Shintani, who is pushing himself into championship contention. Brandon Loudon spun at the final corner and will get himself back going again. Mark Fletcher and Harvey Jones will join Shintani on the podium. But that was a statement from Shintani. The double victory at Silverstone, the double victory here at Knockhill as well.
Absolutely, and it was also the way he got that, the decisive move on the final lap. Fletcher almost had the run back through the chicane, but not enough, as we're seeing some contact there. Big contact indeed. That was Loudon going up the inside, but not making it work, and will have to, of course, come across the line and unfortunately lose out some positions from that.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we'll take a look at the results, of course, from the race. Provisional, indeed. Fair enough. Shoma Shintani taking victory again here in the Formula Fords. Mark Fletcher then in 2nd position. Harvey Jones in 3rd. Those will be the 3 we'll catch up with in a few moments' time. Ian Joyner still staring at that first podium. Can't quite grab it. Hans Jakob Stevenson Mollett then inside the top 5 in the 333 car. Jonathan Smith, 6th position, he managed to work his way up to. Sam Sanders after another spin, couple of spins this evening. Bit of a shame for Sanders, but either way, it is what it is. Corey Lane at 8th position. Mike Pollard and Crofton Woodhatch rounding out the top 10. Those further down, Brandon Loudon, Joshua Bagembe. Ollie Stone did finish the race, but 5 laps down in this one with Frank Corsi and Martin Vilk. Sondre Mollett not taking to the race start after the earlier dramas. Absolutely crazy scenes in that race once again. And I mean, Cam, very quickly, what can Fletcher do about Shintani now? That pace seems ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, Fletcher had good pace himself, and the racecraft is good. Shintani is just that half a percent better at this moment in time, and he's really coming for it. So Fletcher's just got to keep that consistency going, and then hopefully Shintani will get up involved in some incidents like he did in the first couple of races.
Yeah, indeed. Like I say, he's absolutely rapid at the moment. Is Shoma Shintani taking yet another victory? I'm trying to remember how many race victories in a row Henry Moore had last season. It was 6 victories in a row. Shoma Shintani could definitely tick that one off at Donington Park, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's catch up with the main man himself, as he did at Silverstone when he took the double. It is Shoma Shintani taking the double again. Another victory, 6 in a row. 6 in a row, 6 victories this season, 4 in a row. Absolutely incredible, Shoma. I mean, where did that drive come from? 5th to 1st, incredible.
Yeah, thank you. I wasn't expecting that I'm able to win the race too. Yeah, it was a tough race. Hard racing, and yeah, I was a bit too aggressive, but yeah, I'm still win a race, so I'm happy about that.
I mean, you said you weren't as quick coming into this round as you had done, for example, back in Silverstone, but you still seem to have great pace around here at Knockhill. Do you just understand this car really, really well? Does it suit what you want from a car, or is it just because you're focusing on this car solely as your main championship?
Yeah, I mean, I'm driving roller cars, mainly home cars, but yeah, but I like this car so much, and yeah, I'm driving in real life similar car, so yeah, these experiences they helps me.
Well, Shoma, excellent string of victories. You're starting to dominate as Henry Moore did last year. I'm sure we'll be catch up with you in a week's time. Excellent driving this evening. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
And there we go. Shoma Shitani looking to really take control, potentially even of this championship. Let's speak to the driver, though, who's on top of things when it comes to the title race at the moment, although with the drop scores and stuff, it all becomes very, very complicated. Oh, the fourth victory of the season eludes you, Mark. Shoma Shintani through. I mean, you tried everything on the final chicane on that lap. Is that what you were waiting for, the run out of the final chicane?
Yeah, kind of. I couldn't risk contact, and as people were trying to pass me on the grass, I thought, you know what, just have it, because there was no way that he was going to back out into that first corner. So I thought, you know what, I'll take 2 P2s, and yeah, after you. It was as simple as that.
Considering the circuit is so high risk, right? It is such a dangerous track. We've seen that, obviously with the likes of Croft and Woodhatch and stuff so far this evening, that got involved in various instances. Surely a second here is absolutely fine. Like that's kind of maybe what you would have been okay with coming into it, knowing that you could come out with no points at all.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If you looked at us going 3 wide into that chicane and Shoma having a half spin, I thought I can't be dealing with it. It's not how I race. 2 P2s will do me every day of the week.
Obviously, next time we're heading to Donington Park, where things might be a little bit more back to the form book. You expecting big results there? You're going to practice 1,000 million laps of practice, maybe focused on qualifying?
Yeah, I'm going to do 3 lap practices, and that's all I'm doing. No, Donington should be good. It's we'll call it the local track. It's about an hour away from me, so yeah, I hope to go well at the home circuit.
No worries. Best of luck, Mark. We'll catch up with you in a week's time.
Cheers, Lewis. Have a good week.
There we go. Mark Fletcher obviously doing very nicely again here in the Formula Fords. We'll catch up with our final driver on the podium. It's Harvey Jones again. For I think it was the third time this season. Harvey, great drive, great third position. Had a great battle there with Ian Joyner as well, but just a little bit too slow to kind of keep up with Shoma Shintani and Mark Fletcher. Still going to be very happy with the podium in this one.
Yeah, I think a podium will do me, knowing that I didn't really have the pace to win that race. I mean, I defended for as long as I could to, hold on to what I had, but I think the third's respectable for the pace I had.
We saw you defending an awful lot of the early stages of the race. I mean, it must be really, really difficult to defend around here, because as much as it is hard to pass, it's really hard to hit your marks on a consistent basis.
Yeah, especially at a track like this where you've got things like the chicane and turn 1 where you can either get a slowdown or just get it wrong. I think just trying to keep the car on the track, well, it kind of hurt myself with it coming out of the chicane as I dropped it eventually, but I guess it was just a slippery track and I did what I could to hold on to it.
Is it difficult to kind of like measure the risk lap on lap? We obviously know normal circuits you don't have to measure quite as much, but going through that chicane every single lap, and even turn 1, the amount of risk you have to take there kind of changes versus in qualifying as you do in the race more drastically here than most other circuits.
Yeah, I think race 1 was a lot cooler track. I think the chicane was a lot easier to handle, but in race 2 the track was very hot and slippy, so yeah, it was definitely just relax a bit from what I'd been previously practicing. Just let the car bounce its way through and hope that it comes out the other side.
Well, Harvey, congratulations on another podium. We'll see you back at Donington Park, maybe battling for more, or maybe even battling for another victory this season.
I hope so. Thank you, guys.
There we go, Harvey Jones, our final driver onto the podium then. And what has been an excellent evening here in the Formula Fords, but another double victory for Shoma Shintani. 6 victories this season. I mean, I think he's going to be hard-pressed to go after the 10 victories that was taken by Henry Moore last season, but 6 in a row is very possible on his pace at the moment.
Oh, absolutely. He's looking so good. And to be honest, this is what I've been saying for the previous few rounds. He's definitely the fastest driver out there on average, but now obviously the first few races he had the few incidents they got caught up with, but now he's getting those consistent results and he's getting that confidence going. So people obviously then have that sort of aura around him when they're racing. You know, you heard there from Fletcher, he didn't really want to fight, so Shoma knows that when he's going up against him. So that's definitely in his favor as we come into the final 4 races of the season.
Yes, indeed. Now, let's turn our attention to the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. If you're excited for Knockhill and British Formula 4 Esports, it's exactly what happened last season. It blew the championship wide open, and I have been told there is a little bit of rain that's hit the circuit as well. We're going to have a little bit of a breather because that sounds like we're going to get very, very excited indeed. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment with the British Formula 4 Esports Championship.
Need expert support for your sim racing setup? SimRig Support has you covered. With over 2,000 hours of experience, our team excels in diagnosing and resolving issues swiftly. Submit a ticket for remote help, send us your hardware with a prepaid label, or book an on-site visit. We handle all major brands from wheel to PC problems. Trust SimRig Support to keep you racing.
Well, hello everyone and welcome along to the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. We are back and ready to go racing, this time north of the border. The rain has hit the track. It's that perfect Scottish weather. It has been drying up a little bit though as we get ready to end practice and head into the qualifying session, of which is going to be very, very dramatic indeed. Lewis McGlade, Cameron Roger taking you through the racing action here today, with Hugo Luis bringing you the broadcast. Talk you through exactly what's going to happen. We're about to head into qualifying, then we've got a 20-minute race, and after that we've got the reverse grid race, P5 to P15. The spinny wheel will come out, and that is going to be high drama for the second race of the evening. It's been such a dramatic run through the championship, and they're all battling for so many great prizes, of course. For the Drivers' Championship, they're invited to the Night of Champions here in the UK, which is absolutely fantastic. Got British touring cars, British GT1, that's all crowned there. Should be a lot of fun for them to take part in. We've seen, of course, Luke McEwen there for the last couple of years, but the big prize there in the Teams Championship, the Club 100 experience, the hospitality tickets, the full day in the base performance simulator as well. Absolutely fantastic prizes there for the Teams Championship. This is the season though that we've been running through. Of course, the opening 5 seasons are done at Brands Indy Zandvoort. That opened up the championship before we had a little breather before the 3-race run at Snetterton, Old Park and Silverstone. We're now in the final leg though of this season. Knockhill, Donington Park, Brands Hatch. 3 weeks, 3 rounds of racing and 1 title to be crowned. Henry Moore will be starting from the rear of the field after a qualifying penalty. We'll talk about that in a moment's time though. He has a 40-point lead over Graham Carroll after a retirement for the top 2 in the final race at Silverstone. Remy Gilbert up there as well, a little bit clear of Will Chadwick, who's just 1 point clear of Matt Caruana, of course missed around courtesy of going to the FIA Motorsport Games. Leo Brown winning the opening race of the season down to 6th position of the championship. Elias Riker winning the previous race of the season is 7th in the championship, with Joseph Loke, Isaac Price and Gergo Bowdy rounding out the top 10. What does that do in the Teams Championship though? It is the Scuderia Ferrari HP Esports team that lead the championship from Guild Esports. The top 2 very, very tight. I know it sounds like a large gap being nearly 60 points, but it is tight between them. That can all change here in this one round. Guild Academy, that is just Henry Moore there in 3rd position ahead of the Aston Martin Aramco team. Then G2 Esports, Mensa Racing driven by us. That'll be the team that of course has Matt Caruana behind the wheel. Expecting big results from them here with Freema UK. Then Williams Esports Academy, BS Competition and Williams Esports. The Williams cars actually did really well at the previous round of the championship. Maybe we'll see them moving their way forward. Cam, we are in qualifying. It is a little bit wet out there, but I'm seeing some slick tyres. This could be a tricky qualifying lap.
Yes, there's definitely a dry line out there, wet to the inside. Have to look out. Let's go on board, though, as you work away through Duffer's Dip and then down in towards McIntyre's. But just look at the racing line they have to take. Definitely not the normal one with where it's dried up. We work away through Butchers and up towards the chicane. How is it in these Formula 4 cars? Fourth gear. Big stab of oversteer as well from Villa as we work our way up towards the Clark corner. This is important because it works your way onto this back straight where the best overtaking opportunity is down in towards Taylor's and the final corner. Just how wide is the line in towards there? Looks like it is pretty wide, so we should see some moves down the inside, but look at the narrow line actually there right on the apex. That's going to be difficult. Bit of a puddle on the inside as you work your way out to a very quick and clumsy lap around Knockhill.
I did not like that chicane. I've seen the chicane be difficult time and time again. I did not like how it looked. Remember, they only get 4 laps round here as well in this qualifying session. There's Yanni Kattler then. So Villa, Hull, those are the top 2. Hull's continuing to do lap times. And I will say, for a lot of these drivers that are leading it late, because as much as a lone qualifying session, all the cars out on circuit, they are actually cleaning up the track. So you kind of want to leave it late so that the track is as effectively as dry as possible. So those going out early, I don't want to say anything, but it's kind of a mistake. Big moment, though, from Yanni Kattler. This could hit the barrier.
Oh my lord, he managed to save that so well, so he'll be able to continue on in the session. That could have been quite something. Just showing you how tricky it is. But yeah, you're right, Lewis, the driver's not going out there, but if no one goes out, no one's going to clean the track, and that means those final laps when everyone's out at the same time are going to be very rapidly improving indeed. So it's going to be an interesting final 6 minutes of the session. But of course, Lewis, we do have a few drivers not in this qualifying session due to some qualifying bans. Of course, Henry Moore, as you mentioned previously, but also Will Chadwick, who's up there towards the top of the championship as well. We've also got Murdoch, Kulik, and Stachulech. So that's quite big. 5 drivers all starting from the back at a track that's notoriously difficult to work your way to the front.
Yeah, this is going to be a really big qualifying session for quite a lot of drivers on this grid. But most notably, I want to point out the 21 of Graham Carroll, the driver that's second in this championship. This is going to be a mega qualifying. You've got the perfect opportunity. It's a difficult track to overtake. Your championship rival starting from the rear of the field, and of course, Cam, is home soil. Come on.
It certainly is. That might just give that extra 1/10 of a second that you need, although actually a 1/10 of a second is quite a lot around here. So let's have a look. As of course we've seen the 64 of Muir trying to do his qualifying lap. Now it's so tricky in these conditions, though, Lewis, to nail the lap. You can have all the excitement, all the skill in the world, but you just go slightly off the line, misjudge the grip like he has there, coming down through turn 2, and he's got to go across the grass. Can he keep out the barrier? No, he can't. So there's going to be a bit of damage on that car.
Yeah, which is going to be really awkward for them. Again, they are battling decently in the Teams Championship to try and work their way up inside the top few positions, and that will not be ideal for Muir. There is Graham Carroll. I've just seen Joseph Lowe, the other Aston Martin driver's worked about on the circuit. We'll give him a shout out. I did hear that he was at Simply Race the other day. Obviously, Chris McCarthy had the Setting Purple Sectors event, the sort of sim racing event where loads of people went for an epilepsy charity and stuff. So shout out to Chris McCarthy for that one. There's Gogo Barry then into the first corner, navigating brilliantly through the opening couple of turns and then going a little bit wide at McIntyre. So I spoke too soon.
I mean, basically every car that we've been on board with so far is making mistakes. Tricky conditions out there as we go to the other Ferrari. This is Graham Carroll, the home hero, the 21 machine, the driver who's trying to chase down Henry Moore in this championship. And he looks focused as he works his way up towards Clark, down the Brabham straight and into the what's effectively the penultimate corner on the track as Price jumps up into P5. But massive lap time discrepancy so far as everyone just tries to get some heat into the tyres and work their way for the final couple of laps, and so narrow there coming to the final corner still as the drivers work their way through these first laps. It's just going to get quicker and quicker.
Don't worry if we're losing Graham Carroll through the focus. He's using all of his focus on the circuit at the moment as he's trying to get round the lap. Goes into second position. Joseph Loke goes to the top of the timesheets ahead of Hull at the moment, who is one of the drivers who set time earlier on. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I do get the feeling that unless it rains a little bit through the session, which is not supposed to, Hull is going to drop right the way down the order. Unless people make mistakes. You've set the benchmark, you've done your lap time early, maybe it's not too bad. There's Matt Caruana, a driver who's battling a little bit further down the championship where he would have expected. Of course, he was battling up there in the championship, very, very high, and already has a couple of victories this season. But after he left the FIA Motorsport Games, just dropped back a little bit into the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th.
Absolutely. It says the championship may not be able to go for it now because it is 45 points for a victory, so 90 points on offer for the weekend. But he does go up into 2nd place. Let's see what he can do in the championship. Of course, Loke as well looking good. Graham Carroll jumps up into 2nd place. 2.5 minutes remain.
Yep, indeed. Oh, Graham Carroll, though, this lap time, the next lap time will not count. I was just watching him. He clipped that puddle going through turn 2. So the lap time that he's on now is not going to count. And he's got to do a lot of work to get the tyre temperature back in for the final lap of the stint. Here comes Moreno. Sirica, of course, was missing in the opening stage of the season. Rejoined us over the last couple of rounds and has shown some really, really good form. Does go quite well round here. We caught up with some of the Williams Esports team who did really well at Silverstone. They're looking to do really well now. Moreno, Sirica then on to pole position at the moment provisionally.
Yeah, this is a bit more like it from Williams. They've got Espes in P10. They've got Verhoeven down in P12 as well. So let's see if they can turn their season around. Here's Leo Brown, race winner so far this season. And of course for Guild going for this championship versus Ferrari. What can they do? He's got his teammate just ahead of him in P4. Loke up towards the top by 0.4 of a second. Leo Brown up into 3rd.
That's a big lap time from Joseph Loke to round out his 3rd lap time of this session. They're all about to start their final laps. 1 minute 20 seconds left to go. Has anyone else left anything else on the table? Are they preparing for a final stint? Excellent lap time though from Joseph Loke. Like I say, nearly half a second clear. Here comes Moreno Sirica then up towards the line, the number 69 Williams Esports car. Any improvement from him? At the moment the answer is no. So still sits 0.4 off. Final laps of this session, Cam.
Absolutely, the final chance to be absolutely perfect. It's so difficult. It's still not the full racing line around here at this Knockhill circuit. Pretty clean there through Sirica, for Sirica as he works his way through in towards Clark Corner. So many adjustments on the wheel. Carroll back up into 3rd.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I think Carroll will be a little bit disappointed that it's not pole, but to be fair, I think he'll take 3rd at the end of all of this. Any further improvements coming in? Moreno Sirica then comes down to the final corner. Currently sits 2nd in the session. Could he go after this pole position? Can he challenge that 47.7? Remy Gilbert then goes up into 2nd place, bumping Sirica, bumping Carroll down. Carroll has to deal with Gilbert and with Leo Brown, of course. Henry Moore's teammates and all that. Sirica crosses the line. Any improvement? There was an improvement on time, but not on position.
Yeah, stays 3rd place as the laps, of course, come in the final 10 seconds of this session. But it looks like it's going to be Joseph Loke at this moment in time. Of course, technically a reserve driver this season, but he's been here pretty much every round so far. And he's so fast. Let's see if he can get a race victory today.
Oh, he's happy with it as well. Of course he would be. Why wouldn't he? He's look, as much as he might be a motorsport driver these days, he's still a sim racer at heart. Fantastic effort there from Joseph Loke. On to the pole position. Of course, let's talk you through then the starting grid for the opening race of the season. Joseph Loke and Remy Gilbert. What did I say, opening race of the season? I know what I meant. Opening race of the evening for the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. Joseph Loke will start from pole position with Remy Gilbert alongside on the front row. Moreno Sirica in 3rd. Graham Carroll then 2nd in the championship with his main championship rival having a back of the grid drop starting from 4th position. Leo Brown and Matt Caruana rounding out the top 6. Now I thought the next driver was about to drop all the way down the order, but no, it's a personal best qualifying for Joel Hull. Fantastic for the Freem UK by Altitude Esports driver. Isaac Price for G2 up there in 8th position with Pablo Espes inside the top 10. Samuel Villa starting from 10th position. We saw his lap earlier in the session. Giuseppe Lafire in 11th and Elias Riker took victory back in Silverstone, 12th position for them on the road. Matthias van Erven in 13th position with Sergio Fitzpatrick, one of only 2 drivers who's finished all of the races this season. Ronnie Smith in 15th, back in the championship. Gergo Bowdy in 16th position. Alexander Spets down in 17th position after a podium last round. And then Olivia Hayward, the 2nd driver to have done all the races and completed them all this season. Will Chadwick then from 19th position, no time on the board because of the penalty. Henry Moore, Yoni Kattler, Peter Stachulek, and then, of course, Will Murdoch and Colin Muir, who we saw out in the barrier. Issues for, of course, Kattler and for Muir there. And then the final couple of rows. Cam, it's going to be an exciting one. It's going to be a difficult one. It is really tricky if you're starting on the right side of the grid as well. This is going to be a dramatic race.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same. Those drivers on the right-hand side are going to really struggle. And is there not pole position as well? So Loke needs to get over to the left-hand side as soon as he can. So look for some big moves down in towards turn 1. But to be honest, I think if he keeps in the front, Loke's going to win this one. Yeah, it's going to be a really difficult one, though, to get off the grid, though, if you are on the right side of the grid. The left side, as you look in the side with Joseph Loke, with Moreno Sorica, with Leo Brown, with Joel Hull, Pablo Espez, and the likes behind. It means for the likes of Remy Gilbert, who's starting on the outside of the front row, the likes of Graham Carroll, this could be big for them. The time starts 20 minutes onto the timesheets. The green flag's in the air, and we are racing here at Knockhill. As expected, poor start there from our pole sitter of Joseph Loke. He's still got the inside run down into turn 1 at Duffers Dip, but it is going to be the Guild Esports man sweeping around the outside. Remy Gilbert takes over the race lead as they work their way through awkwardly in this opening sector. There's already a bit of contact behind, and there's already a spin as well. I think that might be Pablo Espez sent right the way down the order. Yeah, I think it was up the inside of Joel Hull, as there's a bit of a mistake there from Loke, and that's going to allow Sorica to get the run as we work our way through Clark Corner. And Gilbert is having an awesome start here, getting the lead, and now he's got a big gap in behind Fitzpatrick. Gets past Baldy for an important move for Ferrari, dropping down. Henry Moore is already gaining some places, but maybe some issues in behind. Yeah, I've just seen he's actually made contact with one of his old Formula Ford rivals, Ronnie Smith, and Henry Moore both make a little bit of contact there, and now he's being pushed basically onto the puddle. Watch out for this, Henry Moore. It's going to be really tricky to work his way through the final corner. That puddle is right in the middle of the road if you're trying to go around the outside. This is going to be such a difficult race to deal with, and there could be some damage. We stare at Peter Statchek as well. We head down into the first corner as, again, this is going to be nervy moments. That was a move from Olivia Hayward. Who's that out of the race? Is that Joel Hull? Big shame and big slide as well in the background from Leo Brown. Oh, it's all going on as the drivers haven't quite worked their way into this race just yet. The 33 having some issues. Van Irvin's gone down. That's probably up at the chicane as well. So Fitzpatrick up into P11. Baldy into P12. Chadwick to P13 from the back, as there we see the 64 has gone around. Yeah, indeed. That was Colin Muir that was into the barrier then. So back to the front of the field and what has been a chaotic opening couple of laps. Remy Gilbert leads the race. Joseph Loke, who was on pole position by a couple of tenths of a second, is closing his way up. Moreno Sorica and Graham Carroll sit behind. This is going to be high risk, high reward for Joseph Loke. Almost right into the rear end of Remy Gilbert there at T1. Goes through a bit of a slide but manages to catch it brilliantly. This is what happened earlier on in the race, and this was the contact, like you said. There was Joel Holm, but it was already 3 wide with Isaac Price going in there. And Pablo Espez on the inside line of the Williams Academy car kind of had nowhere to go, but then neither did the 2 on the outside either. Yeah, crazy attempt to go 3 wide into McIntyre, but I guess the door was just about open, so a car can fit down there. Let's see what Loke is going to do as there's further contact in the background. Oh, this was how Moore went around making the contact with one of the Alpine cars, and unfortunately for the championship leader, he's going to be losing a lot of points today. 40 points is his gap, but 45 points for a race win. Yeah, but like I said, the contact's not going to really help his case. Here comes then the look for the race lead. Remy Gilbert's trying to hang on. Joseph Loke sending it to the inside. There could be contact between the pair. There's a head through Duffers Dip. And look at how wide Joseph Loke goes to avoid that puddle going through turn 2. Heads up driving, but it's going to cost him a few spots. Tyres are cold as well as he tries to get back going. Moreno Sorica and Graham Carroll work their way through. Matt Carawan's a little bit too far off the rear. That was so brave, though, to look to the inside. They're all trying to dodge puddles round here. It looks like a mobile game now when they're just trying to avoid all that and try and work their way through. Absolutely crazy. 2 seconds lost from that, just showing you how you have to stay on the dry line, and really it's so difficult to make an overtake because that contact in the background. Will Murdoch's gone around, Spets has got past him as they have obviously had some issues. Chadwick as well has lost a position to Spets in that one, so maybe a 3-car battle up in towards Clark Curve, as there's also a bit side by side in the background as Espez gets past Murdoch as well, so 2-3 places lost there for the 91. Yeah, this is on board with Will Chadwick, trying to find his way past at the moment. Obviously sat on the rear end of Alexander Spets, so losing that position actually on the previous lap, like we saw. And now committing through turn 1. I mean, in this, even if you're far down the order, like what we're seeing with the likes of Spets, like with Henry Moore and stuff, I think the biggest important thing to note in this, we've done less than 4 minutes of this race. Pablo Espez has visited the barrier. Yeah, he's absolutely off the track. Oh, that's a terrible place to rejoin. Oh, my word. As Lafaro, I mean, I'm about to say avoids contact. It wasn't really him avoiding the contact. Chadwick is trying to go 3 wide. We've got Spets up ahead. We've got Gergo Baldi in the middle in the red Ferrari machine. There's going to be a big puddle for Baldi as he's potentially going to go wide. Contact made with Spets. And further contact as Chadwick goes up the inside, but not enough room. That was
so predictable, and Will Chadwick is making that very, very clear. Inside line in that final corner, which Spets was trying to take, there's a puddle there. They've driven past quite a few times now in qualifying and then in here. And what's going to happen when you hit that puddle? You're going straight into the car ahead. Again, I get it, you want to make some moves and stuff, but that maybe wasn't it for the triple one of Alex Spets, who's also off the road again.
I mean, and he's continued to go off the road. He's even trying to get back on the track. No, he's still on the grass and on the gravel. I guess, yeah, avoiding some contact. But let's see. Oh, the 11. I mean, he's way off the track there through Duffer's Dip. In the end, not the biggest contact into the barrier, but definitely enough to break one of these cars. Price also having some issues up at Clark. Then he gets on that wet puddle and just goes for a second spin.
Yeah, indeed. As like I say, there is a moment for Connor Muir. Saw some of these a little bit earlier on as Ronnie Smith and Henry Moore will switch positions a little bit further down the order. There is into the barrier Giuseppe Lafaro, and thankfully we cut away before that. Not so great rejoin, almost into a couple of cars. This is then Henry Moore and Ronnie Smith. Of course, the two of them, they battled a fair few races earlier on in the season, and there's also a car going off ahead of them that would have been Gogo Baldi.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're seeing some crazy things as Fitzpatrick goes past Villa as well. Further contact up ahead. Will Chadwick is involved for a second time in this race. He's going to be out of it from the back for the qualifying ban. This race has gone from bad to worse.
I think that was him taking too much curb on the left side. It's kind of one of those ones, right? And this is the problem with taking curb like that, is I'm going to wonder if he took too much or too little. I mean, from that angle, it looks like definitely too much. But there is that kind of bit where it's like, if you're taking like that half, if you actually take more, the car goes airborne equally, left to right, and then you don't spin out. But it's kind of knowing that and how much you can attack. It's really, really difficult. But Chadwick there going for a solo spin, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's also the angle that you hit at. He was sort of sliding. So instead of the car going, you know, perfectly pivoting over the middle of the cars, oh no, further spin for Sarika on his own, and he goes around from second place. He might even lose another position, as that's going to be Matt Caruana getting through such tricky conditions as Loke is going to go past Carroll down towards turn one.
Yeah, indeed. You can see there on the right-hand side of your screen, it's already adjusting things when it comes to the live points. There with Joseph Loke getting past Graham Carrott, returns to how it was. The points lead, it was going to be 12 for Henry Moore. Obviously, it's going to close down a little bit more, courtesy of that move for Joseph Loke getting through. But still, 17 points in the championship. This is going to be a huge gain for Graham Carroll. The only thing he'll be sitting there praying for is a very, very low number indeed for the reverse grid race.
Oh, as there's Gogo Baldi going off at turn one at Duffer's Dip. Moore gets through up into P11. So despite all of those issues earlier, he is, well, potentially almost confirming himself in a reverse grid spot. He's going to be in the middle of that. It's going to be difficult to get more places for now, but also this is a crucial battle in the Teams Championship, taking points off Ferrari.
I mean, I will say they're gaining. He's gonna gain a few more positions before the end of the race. There's no way the 11 drivers are going to go, or 10 drivers rather, are going to go trouble-free to the checkered flag. We're not even halfway through this race. It's not going to happen. These are difficult conditions, and we've said this before. You'll hear it a lot in motorsport and stuff, and you'll now see it in sim racing. These conditions are harder than full wet. They're harder than full slicks, obviously, but they're harder than full wet. And we're seeing that now because you've got that middle ground, and when the car goes, it goes immediately. You can see on the right-hand side then the team's champs, of course, with the positions they're running in. Guild Esports, 449 points, have been closing in on the Ferrari team because of where Remy Gilbert is. Who was that?
Oh, I thought it was Graham Carroll for a second, but it's Gogo Baldi. Still, big shame for Ferrari, leaders of your Constructors' Championship as it stands. Look at this huge battle, though, on your screen. As you're trying to see all these drivers go 3-4 wide. They're all on the wet stuff. Who is going to make it down the inside? One of them surely has to back out as they get onto the curb. A little bit of contact is made, but they keep it a straight line.
Thankfully, that puddle on the inside of the hairpin's been relatively cleaned up. It's not quite as aggressive as it was earlier on in the race when we saw the incident with Alexander Spets hitting it and then going into the side of Gogo Baldi, causing a spin where Will Chadwick was also involved. Let's see what happened to Gogo Baldi. It's going to be too much curb.
Oof. It's so on the limit. I mean, it doesn't look that much different to the lines that the other people are taking, but it's just enough for the car to go for a spin, and it's been a bit of a shame for Gogo Baldi. Hasn't quite been able to get the results that Carroll would have wanted. Let's see the Catalan down the inside in towards the final corner. Sergio Fitzpatrick, amazing drive so far, up in towards P8, but it might be P9, as in the background as well. Huge send down the inside from Henry Moore. He gets himself up into P10, and as you say, there's still positions on the offer because there's 2 places right ahead of it.
And Sergio Fitzpatrick, best result in the British F4 Esports Championship thus far, 11th place as a personal best. Snetterton in 2022 was the highest position that Sergio Fitzpatrick had been in. Didn't get a top 10 last season. Took part in all rounds except one. And as I mentioned earlier on, both the Prismatic Motorsports drivers, I believe they are the only ones, at least according to my spreadsheet and stuff, I believe they're the only drivers that have made it through all of the races this season. Everyone else has retirements, obviously courtesy of Graham Carroll having the retirement last round with Henry Moore and such. So they're avoiding that one at the moment. And for this, for Sergio Fitzpatrick, best drive of British F4 Esports career. She's doing absolutely fantastically.
Amazing indeed. Can Henry Moore find a way past? So it's the 7 versus the 77, and Henry Moore needs to be gaining these points back, because from Graham Carroll, of course, there's 7 positions in between them at this moment in time. Let's see if he's going to be making a dive down the inside. No, not quite, but certainly closing up in that Guild Academy car.
Yeah, but if I'm Sergio Fitzpatrick, I'm saying, do you know what, Henry, you're involved in a very, very different fight in this than me. I'm not going to fight you hard. Just, I'm not going to let you go, but I'm not going to fight you hard. There's no point in fighting that. And Henry Moore is absolutely rapid. And like I say, he's trying to make sure that he's not losing too much ground in the championship. So for Sergio Fitzpatrick, I think it's kind of a matter of when and not if that Henry Moore will work their way past. But to be fair, Sergio Fitzpatrick, they're driving really well at the moment, and like I say, he's currently sat inside the top 10. I'm sure he'll be very desperate to hang on to a top 10 finish, but there's some big drivers coming.
Absolutely. In the background, Smith went too deep in towards the hairpin. So Lafaro and now Kulik both get past 2 positions lost there from Ronnie Smith, who we actually sort of didn't really mention us, I don't think. He actually technically won the race back at Alton Park after penalties up ahead. So crazy stuff as Henry Moore makes a mistake there, go for the chicane. Can he keep out of the barrier? Yes, he can. He's been struggling to find a way through Fitzpatrick, and that's lost him another couple of seconds.
Yeah, and that's going to cost him another position as well, as Villa will work their way past. I think Moore will try and dive down the inside of the hairpin. The car just understeered. I mean, you saw it on board. That's how difficult this circuit is in these conditions. As soon as you lose grip, it's so quick. Wow, that's an aggressive defence coming in from Villa. And there was the commitment. Big slide in the exit. There was contact as well. Not happy is Henry Moore as they dive off of the corner into the pit lane. Comes one of the cars behind as well. And Henry Moore's going to try and get to the inside coming down into Duffers Dip. Might back out of this, might commit to it fully. This is high risk for Henry Moore as he tries to work his way through and will complete the move back inside the top 10. Wow, it was scary.
Oh, this is so important for Henry Moore, because where he's sitting in P10, that's 15 points. So, that's a decent amount. If he makes a mistake and loses that, he's going to be getting very close to Graham Carroll actually catching up to him already just in this one race. So he's got to be careful not to lose it all. But at the same time, if you want to win the championship, you've got to be making and taking these risks. So very, very interesting situation for Moore, but he's making it work. And now he's got to chase down and catch back up to Fitzpatrick.
But because of the work that he's done in this race, if he stays in the current position, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but almost, your chances are pretty 50-50 being in the middle of the reverse grid. You get reversed towards the front, Henry Moore could win. From if it's 15, he can win from 6th place, no problem. As Leo Brown will try and make a move on Matt Caruana here. 4th position, the battle that we're seeing at the moment, and Leo Brown will work his way through. And for the team's championship, that'll be big. Remy Gilbert, of course, Guild Esports driver. Leo Brown, Guild Esports driver. They are trying to close down on Ferrari at the moment, which obviously is Graham Carroll and Gergo Baldi. Gergo Baldi, I believe, is still in the race, but is a couple laps down, just trying to score whatever points he possibly can.
Yeah, it's pretty close there. Look at that, just 18 points now between Guild and Ferrari. It is not over till it's over. And with this triple header to finish the season, there's still so many points on offer. I can't wait to see how this one is going to end in this season. The battle's been amazing. Of course, Remy Gilbert, whether he's spoken about him up towards the front, but he got to the lead, and he's still been holding off Joseph Loke for the last 10 minutes or so.
This is fantastic. This is what I love about the British F4 Esports Championship. After the halfway point of the season, I thought Henry Moore was going to run away with it. I thought Ferrari were going to run away with the team championship. I thought Henry Moore was going to run with the drivers. And then you come to Knockhill, and very similar to what we had last season where Pete Berryman was in control. You come to a circuit like this, and suddenly everything's turned on its head. There is a Ferrari up ahead of this. That is Gergo Baldi just trying to get out of the way, of course, because we are looking at the lead battle. Gergo Baldi jumps out of the way there and will probably stay out of the way for his teammate to work his way through indeed as well. Who Graham Carroll's not necessarily out of this. He is only a second rear, so if there's contact between the two of them, Graham Carroll is definitely going to work his way through, and to be fair, might instigate his way into this battle anyway. Defense coming in from Remy Gilbert as they try and slot that gap. It's like a rally stage where they're having to slot like through one of those gates on the Welsh rally. It's such a narrow pathway in that final corner.
It certainly is tough one indeed. There's a little bit of a sigh, a bit of frustration coming into Joseph Logue, and definitely a lot of concentration on Remy Gilbert's face. I think Logue thinks he's faster. Look at him, almost pushing him out towards the chicane. All he can do is try and force a mistake at this point as they both nail the chicane that time around. 5 minutes remain in this race. It's certainly plenty of time for someone to make a mistake, but who is it going to be? Because it seems like it's very difficult to overtake just on a clean run. Matt Caruana gets past Leo Brown in behind.
Yep, indeed. Leo Brown's actually had a problem. I think Leo Brown might have spun to a degree. We'll have to jump back to that one in a second because the battle up towards the front is so close. Leo Brown has indeed spun, so he's down to 6th position. But because of some of the gaps in this, he might hang on to 6th. He might get passed by Elias Riker, but he's definitely not going to be passed by Yoni Kattler, an extra 10 seconds behind that.
Yeah, crazy the field spread that we've had in this race, but tough and tricky conditions really helps Andy. Just easy to make a mistake. But let's just put some good words on Remy Gilbert at this moment in time, putting his car, his Guild Esports car, every single place that he needs to do to hold on to this. And Logue, who's probably been one of the fastest drivers over the course of the last few rounds, cannot find a way through. And this is looking very good for the 54 machine. Come down towards the final corner once more. You can't even open up this final corner because there's still that big puddle there. He's trying to do it by half a car width. Is this going to be enough?
Yeah, Logue obviously still trying to find a first victory of the season, a first victory of the British F4 Esports as well. He's yet to grab one of those. Of course, it did go very strongly a week or so ago. Oh, that's an awkward line there. Did have a double podium back in Silverstone. Had a podium, of course, Alton Park, but that was a second, a third, and a second across those podium results, as he desperately looks for a victory. I'm trying to work out how many victories we've had this season. I think it's 7.
Yeah, it's been very all over the place in a good way so far, and that is why the championships are still up for grabs. And of course, we have 6 races to the end of the season, including this one. 5 remaining when we get to the reverse grid race a little bit later, but we still need to find out how they're going to look in that reverse grid, as it seems like Logue is getting very close indeed once more. Gilbert just a little bit of defensive line, so he is hard looking in his mirrors as we come down this straight. The issue is it's so wet to the inside. Logue is going to have to absolutely send it to try and find his way through, but unfortunately not this time around. He's starting to make Gilbert make defensive lines though, and at some point that's going to bite him.
Yeah, it is indeed 7 winners, by the way, and with how things are, unless Graham Carroll works his way through, we are going to have an 8th different winner of the season. Remy Gilbert has not won in 2024. It's been over a year since we've seen his Guild Esports car come down into victory lane. Of course, it was in the second race of 2023 back in Brands Indy. Desperately trying to find it. Joseph Logue's looking for his first victory. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in this race. Because of how quickly they navigate laps around here, that is still plenty of laps for Joseph Logue to try and work their way through. Looking right on the rear end of this Guild Esports driver, straight down the inside of the opening corner at Duffer's Dip. That's going to be way too hard. He cuts over the inside at turn 2. That was too late of an aggressive lunge from Joseph Logue, and he's going to drop right the way back. I'm surprised he didn't get more of a slowdown, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he was trying to force Gilbert into a mistake there, but it hasn't worked out because he had to slow down quite a lot to avoid spinning when he was on the wet stuff. And now Gilbert has almost a second lead with just a couple of laps to go in this race. It is getting squeaky bum time, and Graham Carroll is actually not too far away in that 21 machine if they continue to have these sorts of issues. So we come across the line, and Gilbert has a nice lead now.
Yeah, and you can see there Henry Moore would have more than a 20-point lead courtesy of the progress that he's made in this race, and it might be even better for him as he's on the rear end of Sergio Fitzpatrick now. As Giuseppe Lafaro and Simon Kulik have both had a problem, and they continue to have problems as well. As we look a bit further down, Ronnie Smith working his way past all this, and whoa, some donuts.
They just got lapped, so they were the leaders. There's Caruana, so when there was that dodgy rejoin that we just cut away from, that was the leaders coming through. It looks like it didn't affect anything, but that could have been quite something, as we have only 12 drivers on the lead lap. Such as the shortness of this this lap, and the way that the racing has gone has been a bit of carnage for some people. So here is Kulik. Oh my god, that is a Skittles moment with Lafaro. But when they do the rejoin here, this is going to be the leaders coming through. There's Remy Gilbert. Oh my word, that was close.
That is poor. Remy Gilbert is a lucky boy. Ronnie Smith is also a lucky boy. He's nearly collected and all that. With the time left to go, I believe this will be... it's going to be close to being the final lap, you know. I think it might be, just because of where they were and when they crossed the line. Yeah, it will be. I'm looking at it.
Oh, that was terrible. That was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, and you know our opinions on poor rejoins. There is no excuse for it. Kulik then returning to the pit lane and what will be the final lap of the race. This will be the last corner to deal with. And Remy Gilbert has driven fantastically. Graham Carroll's closing his way back in, but too little too late through the final corner. The time is ticking down. It will be the checkered flag at the line. Depends on what iRacing decides to throw at this point and whether it's a little bit too late of a call. It is going to be the final lap now. Indeed. Wow. They must have crossed it with just about of time.
That is that's going to be lucky for some and unlucky for others, because yeah, they were literally tenths of a second away, and Gilbert needs to do another tour of this Knockhill circuit. He's got Loke and also Graham Carroll now within 1 second behind. This is squeaky bum time with just 2 corners to go.
They crossed the line 19 minutes 59.366, and obviously it's a 20-minute race. Sergio Fitzpatrick and Henry Moore are battling it out, and I think Sergio Fitzpatrick is having an incredible drive because they're fending off Henry Moore at the moment, and Henry Moore is into the pit lane. We'll discuss that in just a moment. Henry Moore is into the pit lane. Remy Gilbert, though, will come through the final corner. It's been over a year since we've seen him take victory in the British F4 Esports Championship, but Gilbert becomes the 8th different winner of 2024. Joseph Loke denied again, 4th podium of the season, but it is not going to be a victory. Graham Carroll, I think, will be happy to have survived that one with a 3rd place finish. But what happened to Henry Moore? Down in 12th.
Fortunately, there's cars a lap down, so he might be okay to keep that 12th place. Was it some sort of drive-through penalty? I don't know what was going on there. He's back out on the track, though. But unfortunately, it must have been a drive-through because he didn't actually lose that much time. Very interesting how that's worked out. Either way, actually, let's see how this worked out.
Yeah, indeed. So there was a battle coming down to the final corner with Sergio Fitzpatrick, pushed onto the puddle, and to be fair, Fitzpatrick's being quite wise there just to kind of leave it there. There was contact heading through the final corner, and then backing out of and trying. I think you're absolutely right. Drive-through penalty.
That is a weird one. Absolutely weird one. Henry Moore losing a few potentially crucial points because he's lost quite a big jump in the championship due to that back of the grid penalty. That was only for race 1 though, so he will be starting in that position for race 2. But either way, he's got a lot of work to do. Carroll with a solid 3rd place now.
Yeah, indeed, and I think Henry Moore will be sitting there, fingers crossed, about the reverse. To be fair, I think Henry Moore and Graham Carroll are fingers crossed for the reverse grid, for 2 very different numbers when it comes to reverse grid. Henry Moore's hoping for 12 on the dot, Graham Carroll's hoping for 5. It's numbers between 5 and 15, and what's it going to be? 14! Wow, Connor Muir will be starting this one for the reverse grid poll, meaning that Henry Moore will be starting from 3rd place. We'll take a look at the the results of this race as Remy Gilbert will take victory. Joseph Loke in 2nd, then Graham Carroll in 3rd. Matt Caruana in 4th position with Moreno Sarica in 5th. Leo Brown, Elias Riker, Yoni Kattler, Sergio Fitzpatrick. I think that is drive of the day. Absolutely fantastic. Fitzpatrick, 1st top 10 in British F4 Esports. Samuel Villa as well inside the top 10. Ronnie Smith just ahead of Henry Moore after all that, with Olivia Hayward for the first driver finishing a lap down. Connor Muir in 14th position, and the driver that will be starting from the reverse grid pole. Giuseppe Lafaro in 15th spot with Shimon Kulik. Then Gergo Bowdy, importantly finishing in 17th, scoring some decent points, or rather important points for the Scuderia Ferrari HB Esports team. Will Chadwick did still finish the race in 18th position. Isaac Price and Alexander Spetz both retiring though in 19th and 20th, and there is still more retirement still to come. Pablo Espes, Will Murdoch, Peter Staticek, Joel Hull, Matthias Van Erven, and of course Sebastian Hawkins is not a driver, so don't worry about it. He was managing the team there for Guild Esports, and managing a driver all the way to victory. Remy Gilbert on top of the podium for the 2nd time in British F4 Esports, and for the 1st time since Brands Indy. It has been a long time since we've seen you take a victory, but this was an important one. What a drive, what difficult conditions. Joseph Loke all over you all race. I mean, your heart must be pounding right now.
Yeah, I mean, shaky legs probably a bit of an understatement. Yeah, that was a really, really difficult race, probably one of the hardest races I've ever done, but it was all about just trying to keep it keep it off the wet curbs, keep it on the dry line, and not make any mistakes. I knew that it was going to be hard to overtake because obviously you have to go onto the wet stuff, so I just sort of held my line and yeah, I was able to take the win.
It looked really, really difficult out there, especially that run into the final corner where you have to slot that gap between those two big puddles as well, one left, one right. I mean, how hard is it driving on slick tyres in these conditions? It looks absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, you make a little tiny mistake and you drop off into a puddle, onto the curb, and then you go out wide, which is what I did a couple of times, but thankfully I was able to get back on and not lose too much time from it. But yeah, pretty mega.
Well, it was a mega race, and obviously big congratulations. You know, obviously big positive vibes, big congratulations for the victory, this, that, and the other. I've got some bad news for you. 14th place is the reverse grid.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Obviously, we don't really know the weather conditions at the moment. I'm sure you're probably loading into the next session and such. But how does that make you feel? This is a difficult circuit to overtake at.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've just got to try and pick them off one by one. Try and see if, you know, people might be making some mistakes over the curbs and stuff like that. See if I can just take advantage and maybe end up with a good result.
Well, Remy, best of luck. We'll maybe catch up with you after the second race, or who knows, it's going to be a complete gamble.
Yeah, it's going to be carnage.
There we go. Remy Gilbert on top of the race here. He had the double podium earlier on in the season. Fantastic drives. We'll try and catch up with Joseph Loke, although he's left himself completely mute. He doesn't want to be spoken to at the moment. He's terrified of me for yet another round. He has unmuted himself, but I can't move him at the moment. It's fine. I am an old man. There we go. Joseph Loke is in here. Hello. Great drive. Obviously, let's roll it back to qualifying. Excellent lap. But you got very unfortunate starting on the wet side of the grid, and that was always going to be difficult down to turn one.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost impossible to keep the lead into turn one. I tried my hardest, but you're starting on the wet, you're never going to get off the line. And then yeah, it's just impossible to overtake. You know, you've got puddles everywhere, and if you go offline, then you're gonna have a big one, and it just wasn't worth it. You know, I dropped a P4 because of a screen freeze. My whole PC just turned off for some reason for a second, so I need to try and figure that one out before the next race. But yeah, I had quite a few things going on, to put it lightly.
Is it going to be full elbows out in this next race? Are you really going on the attack?
I may as well. I think it'd be a bit rude not to after that.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard what the reverse grid number is.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. I actually watched it on the broadcast when you did it.
Oh, there you go. So yes, you're going to be starting from 13th position. Obviously, we don't again know what the weather conditions exactly are like on the circuit, but that is going to be a tricky one for you to work your way forward. But are you confident of being able to work your way through maybe into a top 10, top 5, maybe a podium? Is that the goal?
I mean, well, I think it's supposed to be dry, which is cool. Should make it a bit easier to pass. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to obviously get as high up as possible. It's very difficult around here to make moves. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'll aim for top 10 and see if we can get any higher.
Well, Joe, best of luck. And again, maybe we'll catch up with you. Who knows?
Thank you very much.
Lovely. Joseph Loke then onto the podium for the third consecutive race in the British F4 Esports Championship. Let's catch up with our final contender here and the final person to grab a podium. It's Graham Carroll again. Home soil. Fantastic stuff. Third place, but not a victory. Is that a tough one for you? Obviously, with Henry Moore's issues there, obviously starting from the back of the field because of qualifying. Will you aim for the victory, or are you happy still with a podium? You survived what is a difficult race.
No, I definitely came in, obviously wanting to, excuse me, I win on the home soil, right? But with the weather conditions, it sort of threw us off a little bit. In full wet, I felt quick. In the dry, I feel quick. But in the middle, I was a bit scared at points, to be honest. So I seen Joseph was quite quick behind me, so just let him go. Thought he'd maybe start something with Remy and maybe hold him up and we could get a wee battle going. But nah, I just took the points and we'll move on to the next race, I think.
Yeah, obviously it is important points. You've slashed the gap to Henry Moore quite a lot. But from your angle, obviously you've got the Scuderia Ferrari HP Sports team battling for the team's championship. You've got yourself battling for the drivers' championship. How much are you focused on any of that? Or are you just literally trying to take it one race at a time and think like, I've got to grab the most points that I can grab and not think about anything else?
I'd like to win at least one of them, right? New team and everything. Definitely want to bring home one of the championships. But today was quite a big sort of where Henry started at the back. if I had won, you know, it could have really changed things. But it obviously has. There's still quite a few races to go. There's nothing to say that he can have a bad one here or vice versa with myself. So it's everything's to play for, but still keeping a bit of the championship in mind. But I want to win some races for sure. So getting stuck in, that's for sure.
Yeah, obviously there's no drop scores here in the British F4 Esports Championship. It's just whatever points you score throughout the season. And of course, the next race, this is going to be a tricky one for you. You're in the middle of the pack. You'll be starting from 12th position after a 14 reverse grid. How's that going to be for you? Like, how tricky are you going to think that's going to be, especially in the opening stages?
Honestly, it's like that race in the wet, or sort of 50-50, half dry, half wet. It's hard enough to keep the car on the track with a dry race at Knockhill. So starting in the mid-pack, just sort of got to survive the first few laps and sort of try and just pick my way forward and wait for the shunts. And it's a very tough track to get past, actually, Knockhill. All the sort of exits are benefiting the guy on the outside. So turn 1 outside, turn 3 outside, final corner, Clark. So it's tricky to get by. So it's I just want to finish. That's the main thing, right?
Well, best of luck, Graham, and good luck in this next race. The reverse grid coming up after this.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Lovely. There we go. Graham Carroll there onto the podium again, but still not that victory. He's had one victory. That was the second race of the season. It's been a long time since then, though.
But it's very consistent indeed. So the results are coming, and if he keeps putting that together, we'll have to certainly find out how that works out. But of course, the bit of a gap at the front, though, to Henry Moore. So it's definitely an interesting one with how it ebbs and flows throughout the season. And with the big reverse number, that's obviously put Henry Moore up towards the front, second row of the grid for now. So actually, Moore might end up gaining some points on Graham Carroll, depending on how this race goes.
Well, it's been an exciting run throughout the season, and one of our more exciting drivers, Ryan McAuliffe, who's not in for this round, but we have obviously seen him throughout the season. He's a very exciting driver to watch. We caught up with him a little bit before the season. Let's have hear what he said.
My name's Ryan McAuliffe, 17 years old, and I'm racing for Aztec Racing in the British F4 Esports Championship. So 2022, I've done it for Kimura Racing, and in 2023 as well. They ain't doing it this year, so Aztec came along and offered me the drive, and I'm proud to be racing from this year. Hopefully we can do something a lot better, fix setups. We ain't got to worry about sitting there for 20 hours a day doing setup work, and yeah, makes it a lot fairer for everyone else and the grid in general. Yeah, a lot better. The coverage has got a lot better, and I think we're getting streams on iRacing this year as well, which is massive coverage for the championship. We've got media days and everything, so they're probably pushing it to be better. We've got Formula Ford introduced last year as well, which obviously a stepping stone into British F4 Esports, which is also a very good thing for people wanting to come in. So yeah, the development of the championship's come a long way since 2022. Fingers crossed. Well, I've been driving F4 for a long time. I've had a decent track record. Hopefully we can take it further this year, because obviously, like I said, fixed setups makes it a lot easier and more fair for everyone. So hopefully we can get a good run this year. Hopefully go for the championship, drivers and teams. But we'll have to see how it goes, won't we? Started in 2019. Just on Logitech, on a desk, like normal, everyone else, normal story. Grown over the years, and then in 2022, when British F4 first got announced, I got a message from Kimura. Said, do you want to race for us? And yeah, since then, that's when I was introduced really into F4, and a few more of the bigger championships as well, like the 24-hour races, and a few other ones that have been going on. I'm expecting a big change, but at the same time, through real life as well, different teams. I think I'm used to it now, so I can hopefully adapt quite well, get used to the new environment and really settle down properly and get a nice little run.
Well, there we go. Fantastic there from Ryan McAuliffe. Touching on one of the more important things and the important changes of the British F4 Esports Championship this year, fixed setups. That's what they all had to deal with. Everyone was driving on the same stuff in those wet conditions of the previous race cam, and everyone's driving on the same car here in the dry conditions. It's sunny again here at Knockhill.
Yeah, certainly one of the fairest forms of esports. Such everyone's on the absolute plain level field, and it's all about how you work your way through the track. As you say, clear conditions as well, so we are ready to have a big fight. Just 5 races remaining in the championship, and it is closed up thanks to obviously Henry Moore having that grid penalty and then losing a decent amount of points to Graham Carroll as well. So I think it's going to be a really big battle. I think, Lewis, also the dry track will mean that we see some of those drivers, you know, like Joseph Loke, like Remy Gilbert, who have gone back because of the reverse grid. I think that it's going to be more easy for them to get up, but just how many places, we're about to find out.
Kind of. I think it is, but I also think there's like that double-edged sword as well. It's like, yeah, sure, it's easy for them to make the overtakes, but in the wet, you kind of like have a lot of people that just fall off the road, and so you can kind of pick up a lot more positions there. Obviously, we're seeing the points there with the Drivers' Championship on the right-hand side. You saw Henry Moore was still the championship leader, and Joseph Loke was in 5th position, etc. We can see the team's champion as well. Of course, the Aston Martin Aramco team up to 3rd now, ahead of Guild Academy. On the top of the championship camp, just 24 points between Scuderia Ferrari HP Esports and between Guild Esports. That is not a big margin with just 5 races left to go with the 2024 season.
Absolutely, and especially with 85 points on offer per race, if you finish 1-2, get the bonus point as well, it's certainly going to be a very close battle to the end of the season, and I can't wait to see how that's been. What a fight, Lewis, as well. The fact that we had those 2 top-tier teams fighting against each other at the front, just going absolutely hammer and tong. And I think the biggest factor is going to be potentially Gogo Baldi, especially because of that disappointing result he just had in that race 1. Maybe overall Guild seem to have 2 drivers being slightly closer on average.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is our 3rd season of the British F4 Esports Championship, and they've all been quite exciting. You obviously joined us last year for the 2nd season of the British F4 Esports Championship. I did the opening season with Connery Maddock, of course. I've got to say, I love this championship. We've said this time and time again, I love this championship. I'm going to say, I think this is the best season I've had so far. It's the most exciting, it's most crazy, most absolutely wild.
And it's completely unpredictable as well, which is what I love. So yeah, when the dates got released, many months ago now, that was already in the diary for sure for the this autumn series. Awesome way to round out the year as well, and I can't wait to see how it finishes as we come to this reverse grid.
Yes, indeed. Well, the warm-up session is over. The first race complete, and the grid set off of that with a 14-car reverse grid. They will take to it, and we'll take a look at the starting grid for the second race of the evening. The reverse grid here at Knockhill. Conor Muir will start from pole position with Olivia Hayward on the front row. Henry Moore, championship leader, 3rd position for him, alongside Ronnie Smith, who he made contact with. Samuele Villa will start from 5th position with Serge Fitzpatrick, a first top 10 in the previous race in their British F4 Esports history. Jonny Kattler in 10th position with Elias Riker, the winner of the previous reverse grid. Leo Brown in 9th position with Moreno Sarika in 10th. Matt Caruana 11th with Graham Carroll in 12th. On the podium in the previous race, 12th in this one. Joseph Loke and Remy Gilbert a winner for the 2nd time. Giuseppe Lafaro and Simon Kulik will start from 16th position with Gogo Baldi in 17th and Will Chadwick starting from 18th position. The final few rows see Isaac Price, Alexander Spetz, Pablo Espes, Will Murdoch, Joel Hull and Matthias van Erven starting from the rear of the field. They are in position and ready to go racing. Conor Muir for the Aston Martin team will start from the pole position. Great start from the Prismatic though of Olivia Hayward to try and drag herself alongside and maybe take over the race lead. But look at that from Henry Moore, already to the inside, battling for it down in the first corner. Olivia Hayward tries to hang on around the outside, and Henry Moore, just like that, straight to the front of the field. Ronnie Smith trying to come his way through as well, and it will be Smith up in the 2nd position, but absolutely fantastic from the championship leader, and there's contact, and Conor Muir's in the gravel.
Yeah, he's already down into P5, but that just adds insult to injury. Contact is made through the chicane, and he's now basically at the back of the pack from your pole position driver. All cars off in the background as well. Further contact being made with Lafaro, Kulik, they have gone off there. Joel Hull is also involved in that as we're 3 wide, almost coming down in towards the final chicane. Leo Brown dives up the inside of Fitzpatrick as well.
Yeah, and importantly, Graham Carroll's worked his way up into 9th position, battling now. There's big contact. Whoa, there's big contact in the background. I think that was Isaac Price that was sent up into the air. There was contact with a couple of the Williams cars. I think it's Giuseppe Lafaro returning to the race circuit as we look at Villa and Hayward battling for 3rd position. Villa making it up then into 3rd position. Olivia Hayward now down into 5th with a move to the inside coming in from Leo Brown. Side by side, the prismatic cars on the outside now drops back into 5th position. Serge Fitzpatrick's done a great job to hang on to 6th spot, and it now might be moved up into
fifth as Olivia Hayward's gone straight onto the chicane. Move to the inside as well, coming in from the Ferrari of Graham Carroll, who's just got past the BS competition car, Relius Riker, and now runs 7th in the race.
What absolutely crazy first couple of laps here. We're still side by side down in towards the farthest corner as we're trying to see all the drivers get themselves into some sort of single file move. Oh, contact is made. Sarika's gone round. Riker involved as well. The two of them making some contact. I think another third car was involved, but maybe not quite so bad as these drivers are pushing for everything. They know how close it is. Look at this up the inside. It's going to be for Ronnie Smith as he tries to work his way through. Matt Caruana, I should say, as he tries to work his way through Joseph Loke. But what tough defence there.
This could be a big race, though, for Mensa. I mean, you say there about Matt Caruana, 9th position at the moment. Ronnie Smith is keeping up with Henry Moore at the moment at the front of the field, and it's going to be the top two of those battling for it. Let's see what happened then to Connor Muir. So there was a bit of contact there with one of the Aztec cars, I think. There, with obviously would have been Villa at that point, and sent him off. Let's see what happened. There was Alexander Spetz, I think it was Kulik on the outside, sent him round, and there was absolute carnage. And I will say, look at the Ferrari there. Gergo Bowdy, the red Ferrari working his way through. I think he might have dodged most of it, to be honest.
Parting of the seas as he stayed to that inside line. Every car on the outside, literally every car on his outside had contact, and he's got up into P14 from that position as Gilbert drops a place to Matt Caruana in the live pictures as well. These positions are going thick and fast. Chadwick also losing in the background. Definitely a lot more on-track overtakes so far in the opening 3 laps.
And obviously we just saw, big moment there. Was that, and that was a really big one. That was Hull that joined them. That was both of the 3M UK cars into the barrier hard at the chicane. It has been a disaster round north of the border for the pair of those. It's looking like the disaster is continuing after a great qualifying from Hull. It is all unfolded. There was Chadwick being sent off of one of the Williams Esports Academy car, and there into the bottom of shot was Hull. Let's see what happened with Chadwick. Just couldn't do anything there.
What an up and down season this driver is having. He can win races. Huge hit there for his teammate Hull as well. Yeah, that's just a little bit clumsy from everyone involved in there, but unbelievable. Remember, going towards the bomb hole as well, Chadwick in contact with Goyo Bowdy, but of course he won races. And then Skittles moment in Alton Park as well on the wet line. Crazy up and down season for Chadwick. Unfortunately, he's going to be dropping a load of points here today. As we come back to Graham Carroll, who is of course trying to chase down Henry Moore. He's 5 places back.
I mean, 12th to 6th in the opening 4 minutes. I've got to say, Graham Carroll's driving fantastically. He's had a look at Yanni Kattler. I think a podium is on the cards here for Graham Carroll. He's got to have a big drive, though, as there was contact there. Matt Caruana and Joseph Loke making contact. Joseph Loke's been off the road. Remy Gilbert's now going to join in the fight. Now, as much as they're similar livery, not teammates. Matt Caruana, of course, driving for Mensa, and there was Remy Gilbert dragging his way through. He's got front wing damage, though, does Remy Gilbert, and Joseph Loke's injury trying to fire one down the inside at McIntyre. Brilliant move from Loke.
Talk about licking the stamp and sending it. Firstly from Caruana into the final corner, and then a McIntyre's there for Loke. He really wants to chase down that Mensa car to try and get back past. Carroll goes up Kattler to P5. So, oh my God, they're all off onto the gravel as well. The intensity of this race is absolutely brutal.
Yeah, indeed. You can see the points gap there. 29 points that Henry Moore would have over Graham Carroll. But Henry Moore has actually just... I haven't even seen this. Ronnie Smith's our race leader. I don't even know where that's happened. But Ronnie Smith has taken over the race lead. There must have been a mistake from Henry Moore.
I would say so as well. He's still getting good points, but I'm sure he wants to get this race victory today as his sister teammate Gilbert is in behind Joseph Loke, who's on a mission to try and get back up towards Matt Caruana. Caruana, I think we just about saw it. It was very elbows out there in the final corner, not really leaving enough space on that outside for the Aston Martin driver. But look at this big train that's currently been led by the number 93 of Villa as there's 2 seconds up ahead. But here comes Graham Carroll around the outside.
Yep, indeed. Carroll's trying to get past Villa at the moment. Looks to the inside. Got to apologise to Ronnie Smith, by the way. He did do that move legit, so he has now a race leader and legit as well. There's Graham Carroll to the inside of Villa and will work his way through then into 4th position. The driver sits 2nd in the championship. He's having a decent round here on home soil. Works his way into 4th. Would like to grab a podium. Has 2.3 seconds to catch to get past Leo Brown and maybe join his rival in the championship on the steps of the podium. There is a look at Yanni Kattler running in 6th position at the moment as Kattler and Caruana have both got past on Sergio Fitzpatrick, who's dropped down now into 8th position.
This is such a crazy race that we're seeing so far. And as you say, here's the 40 of Kattila. Definitely got a good opportunity to get past Villa. Once again, all on the gravel. I mean, that tarmac is basically brown now with all the dust that they are bringing up, but it is so close indeed. And he's actually got Matt Caruana getting very close. We've seen the big send down the inside from him before. In the background, though, it's actually Joseph Loke who's losing places. Fitzpatrick has got past, and now Will Murdoch from the back of the field is coming up behind him.
We're going to have a move for the race lead as well, because I believe Henry Moore was just looking to the inside of Ronnie Smith, who had a poor exit going through the final corner. This battle is kicking off at the front of the field, and you've got to remember, Ronnie Smith is looking for a second victory in the British F4 Esports Championship after being gifted one courtesy of Will Chadwick's penalty back in Alton Park, the race you were alluding to earlier on. Henry Moore, though, has got a championship to fight for. Neither of these two, though, as much as they were battling out in the previous race, neither of these two are going to give up that much. So that said, that was a mistake and maybe even a gift from Ronnie Smith. Not happy with Moore.
Yeah, interesting one indeed. I don't know why he was so annoyed about that one. Maybe with himself, but either way, Smith is now back into second place. Not the most difficult overtake that Moore's had to do in his life. In the background, oh no, Loke's been spun around. Loke has been spun around to the left-hand side. There was contact. Remy Gilbert was involved, Will Murdoch as well, and that has caused there's rear wing damage, and that car is toast.
Yeah, goodbye, Joseph Loke. There's not going to be a decent result for you in this race. Already communicating to the team, and remember, Aston Martin are running third now in the team's championship, so that is actually quite big for him as he pulls it in and tries to retire from the race. Such a big shame. I think he might try and get that one repaired and get it back out, but there's so much damage. It's going to be such a long repair. Might even be longer than 12 minutes, to be perfectly honest, as they see the battle for 5th position with Villa, Caruana and Kattila.
And definitely with how the prizes are, they want to finish P3. This is big play. So it's actually the Prismatic car on the outside. So that was Fitzpatrick. That's where the contact was made. But there was 3-4 cars all bunched up there. So easy when you get to that wheel-to-wheel, front-to-rear contact. Unfortunately, it's generally how it happens that car ahead gets spun off to the side.
Yeah, again, just kind of one of those things. It is what it is. The gap for 3rd position, by the way, because I was going to say it was 2.4 seconds the last time I checked on the gap between Leo Brown and Graham Carroll. It's now 2.1 seconds. It's closing down by a couple of tenths. Has Graham Carroll still the chance of a podium, but he'll be absolutely throwing this car around. And again, with how this race is, we do expect a lot of laps around here. It's expected to be 26 laps of racing around the 20-minute race. Matt Caruana then right on the rear end of Villa, looking for a top 5 as he'll try and find his way through. Looks to the outside of the final corner. Obviously, we'll go for the up and under hit and almost making contact with the Aztec grid behind the car. Oh, he's in the pit lane. All right.
Oh, he's got a drive through. So, Lewis, there's a lot of drivers out there having this. Fortunately, it's actually it's quite a short pit lane here. You're going to see he's not going to lose actually that many seconds, but that is basically race ending in terms of a top position.
Yeah, indeed. I think it's instant limits that they're hitting that's giving them the drive-through rather than track limits. I think they're getting to an instant limit, which I don't remember what is in this, but I believe that's what they might be hitting, because I think there was a bit of contact and that was what did it, and then Caruana came into the pit lane. Obviously not happy about that one at all, but it is what it is.
Oh, Murdoch there, sliding that rear end. So Sarika in the 69 machine is going to go to the left-hand side of the track to the outside. Can he go all the way around? It's very difficult at this particular corner. No, he's going to get the switch back, and he does get his car up the inside. It's going to be the long run up towards the first corner, but the Williams car goes through.
Yeah, indeed. Absolutely beautiful there. And obviously you've got sat on the rear end of this, the Ferrari of Gergo Baldi, right on board with the scooter rear Ferrari HB Esports driver. Gergo Baldi on the rear end of Moreno Sarika and of Will Murdoch. And I've got to say, for Ferrari, this is some good points then. 4th and 9th position. This doesn't sound great when you consider Leo Brown, 3rd position for Guild Esports. Remy Gilbert just 14th position, exactly where he started in this race after the front wing damage that he's got from the early point of this race. I think even more drama to add to that. This could be a good hold for the Scuderia Ferrari Esports team. You can see the live points there for the Drivers' Championship. Henry Moore would have 388 points. Graham Carroll would have 355 at the moment. A 33-point lead with 4 races left to go.
And considering the grid penalty for Henry Moore, that's only going to be losing about 8 points or so in the championship lead. So with the both races added together. So that's not too bad indeed for Henry Moore if he can hold on to this lead, which he looks like he should be able to do as it stands, as we continue to be with Gergo Baldi in his 3-car train trying to work his way up. And this is looking good for Ferrari as well. Huge slide there from Murdoch, but he saves that.
Yeah, indeed. Like I say, this is a tense moment in the British F4 Esports Championship. I mean, you say this about Henry Moore. It's whether Ronnie Smith goes for anything or not. He did go for something earlier on in the race, and he is right on the rear end of Henry Moore as well. We look back just a touch now, the battle for the lead. 3.7 seconds ahead of Graham Carroll. The chances of the Scotsman joining this fight is quite low. But then again, Leo Brown's been closing in, and Graham Carroll is closing in on Leo Brown. Right? So you just never really know that. I just don't think he's closing on Leo Brown enough.
Yeah, it's over a tenth faster on the previous lap for Graham Carroll. That's too wide, though. That is too wide for Henry Moore, and that's going to be a nice, easy move for Ronnie Smith, who retakes the race lead. What a battle we're seeing up here towards the front. They're pushing each other, and it's forced Moore into a mistake.
Whoa! Late defense coming in from Ronnie Smith. Henry Moore gets to the inside. They head their way down to the final corner. Straight after the mistake, straight coming back through. Henry Moore gets side by side as they head through the final corner. Ronnie Smith with a drive off. They're equal on power, running down towards the first corner. It may be a slight advantage on speed towards Ronnie Smith. They cross the line 2,000 apart with Henry Moore with the inside line. Is Ronnie Smith going to back out at T1? Does indeed do so. But the two of them have lost about a second in all that. And Leo Brown is joining this fight. If they're not careful here, Graham Carroll will join the fight. I know for Henry Moore, it would be helpful to have another guild car in this, but you're actually given the opportunity for Graham Carroll to score more points.
Yeah, I hate to say it, I don't know if Moore was a bit too desperate there to get back through, and as you say, it's cost them time. Let's see how this one works, though. He certainly wants to be in the race lead. Ronnie Smith has some good opportunities to get this, but unfortunately, Leo Brown is coming in behind, and that's going to be a 2v1 with the guild versus the Mensa car. So let's see how Ronnie Smith can deal with this, but it's certainly looking very, very good indeed. Graham Carroll, unfortunately, though, he's just about half a second or so off the slipstream.
Yeah, but this is the thing, he's been closing it down, and he is closing it down. Remember, he was 2 seconds behind, he was 2.4 seconds behind Leo Brown not long ago. He's grabbed that one back down to, comfortably under 2 seconds. Yes, there's 7 minutes left to go, but Leo Brown is likely to be slowed down a little bit in this group, which could allow Graham Carroll to catch back up. And again, then he's in the battle for the race lead. Let's see what Ronnie Smith does as we head towards the railway straight. He's in too deep. Big kick of oversteer from Henry Moore. This could be a battle cam.
Certainly could. It almost looked like Henry Moore's going almost too slow into Clark there. Very interesting indeed. I wonder if he's trying to bring Leo Brown into this battle as Ronnie Smith is getting boxed in a bit, but the up and under is done, and he's going to get the run as we come across the start-finish line. 6.5 minutes remaining, and it really is a three-way battle now. What is Henry Moore going to do to the inside? It's going to be around the outside for Ronnie Smith. Surely he's going to back out of that one, but Leo Brown is going to be loving this one as he gets involved.
8 laps left to go in what is so far a very thrilling race and a very exciting one for the championship as Graham Carroll continues to close up to the top 3. Moreno Sharika sends one down the inside of Duffer's Dip on Samuele Villa and works his way through then into 5th position. Gogo Bowley straight around the outside. Will Murdoch is battling with the BS competition driver. Fends him off. 8th position at the moment for the Ferrari man as Matt Caruana and Giuseppe Lafaro battle for 11th position at the moment, with Lafaro seeming to come out on top. They were side by side going through McIntyre up towards chicane. Of course, there's so many places we can't really keep our eyes off of any of it yet. We're going to have to. Back up to the battle for the race lead. 6 minutes left to go. Roughly 7 laps of racing, potentially even more around here as Henry Moore continues to lead.
I tell you what, give it one more lap or so and Graham Carroll is going to be there. It's going to be a 4-way battle for the lead in the final 4 or 5 minutes of this race. Can't wait to see how that one is going to go, because remember, Moore versus Carroll for the Drivers' Championship, but also Guild versus Ferrari with Leo Brown versus Carroll for the Constructors' Championship. This is really some big important positions in the final few minutes here.
Loving seeing this. Maybe Graham Carroll is going to get a chance to win on home soil, and what a victory it would be. Maybe we're getting a little bit too far ahead of ourselves. Oh. Whoa, that's a big crash from Lafaro.
Wow, there must have been contact there, potentially with Caruana getting involved with Gilbert, something like that, down at that point of the track at the chicane. But up towards the front, Smith is almost pushing the 77 for the race lead. And this is really some important times now for Smith, because if he can get past, maybe he can do something. But the problem is he's 2v1, and I wonder if the Guild cars can work together somehow to get 1-2.
Yeah, and you might say Smith's not in the Drivers' Championship, so what's he doing? Mensa are battling for a top 3 potentially in the team's championship. He dives it down the inside. Henry Moore's trying to sneak it back through after yet another mistake from Henry Moore, and Leo Brown could be joining the mix. Bump drafts his teammate, of course, as they work their way down into the final corner. Any mistakes here, and it could be catastrophic for the Guild team. Ronnie Smith's trying to stick it around the outside of Henry Moore, who just about gives room going through the final corner, and now joining the fight comfortably under a second, within a half a second of the race lead. Graham Carroll is here for the Scuderia Ferrari Esports team as Henry Moore continues to lead. Leo Brown to the inside. Graham Carroll centered around the outside as they head their way through Duffer's Dip. Now towards McIntyre's. There's contact between the pair of them, and they're still side by side, Cam.
No way through the chicane. Graham Carroll round the outside. He's made it work. He's got through to 3rd place. That is some commitment. He wants this championship. He needs to gain some further points on Henry Moore, who's currently in the lead. But Ronnie Smith is trying to do his best to win this race as well. These guys are absolutely going at it. Leo Brown almost pushed himself to 2nd place. He's now down to 4th.
I did give Serge Fitzpatrick driver of the season earlier on. Whoa, that was how. There was the contact for Lafaro. It was with Matt Caruana, and that was a big crash indeed. Yeah, I said Serge Fitzpatrick had driver of the season, which was an excellent drive to 9th place. Absolutely. They did a fantastic job. Best result. I get it. If Graham Carroll can win this race on home soil in such important circumstances for him in the Drivers' Championship, I think that might take it thus far, especially with that move.
That was absolutely unreal. The commitment to stay at. He was outside for about 4 corners in a row, which is basically half the lap around here. A little bit of a mistake there as well. He might be able to get 2nd place up towards turn 1 with a big send here on the brakes. Ronnie Smith losing some time to Henry Moore. We're inside the final 3 minutes of racing here at Knockhill, and this is turning into an epic battle. The championship is on the line here, and Graham Carroll wants to chase it down. As you see on the top right of your screen, 28 points is the gap. A few more will go very handy coming into the final 2 rounds of the season.
Said he was going to get his elbows out, and he said he's hungry for victory. He's had a lot of podiums this season, has Graham Carroll, and he's only had one of those be on the top step. He's got his championship rival, his main championship rival out in front. He's done an incredible job to work his way through into 3rd spot, and he is now in contention for the race victory. Through the chicane he goes, committed, maybe a little bit too hard there. Still plenty of time left to go in the race, at least when it comes to corners and opportunities, and there might even be that for Ronnie Smith. Can he make an opportunity on Henry Moore, and could that open the door for Graham Carroll to come through yet?
Yeah, it's great to see someone like Ronnie Smith, not, as you say, not involved in the championship, in the Drivers' Championship. He's just going for this, trying to get a victory, and he could potentially take points, crucial points away from Henry Moore. Up towards turn 1 we go, and also this is a 6-point swing, 45 for the win, 39 for 2nd place. Henry Moore needs those extra 6 points in his battle for this championship as Smith gets close into turn 1 for another time of asking, but couldn't quite find his way through. Moore has been in this position a few times this season where he's led from the front, he's defended to the line. Can he do it once more?
3 drivers, 3 heart rates, almost certainly in the triple digits here with these lot as Remy Gilbert gets past Serge Fitzpatrick and up now into 8th position, back onto the railway straight. There will be 2 laps at the line, by the way, so there's still quite a lot of opportunities left to go in this one, and Ronnie Smith will be well aware of that as they work their way down into the final corner, a position where he's had a couple of opportunities to get past Henry Moore behind. They've been side by side down towards the first corner, but Henry Moore is going to defend hard. The thing is, the harder he defends, the more of an opportunity he opens up for Graham Carroll to maybe work his way through.
Yeah, we could be 3 wide in towards the final hairpin. This is crazy scenes between these drivers, and they just have a couple of miles to go before the end of this race, and it really is a 3-way battle. They've dropped Leo Brown. Over the chicane they go as they are starting to take some risk, although actually in some ways not quite as wide as they have been in the past. Having said that, that is a bit wide that time from Moore as he lost momentum.
Yeah, I mean, Moore's got to be careful going through that chicane. He's taking so much risk through there. He's really putting everything on the line. Just trying to fill the mirrors there was Graham Carroll as he tries to look to the inside of Ronnie Smith. And we head on to the final lap of the race. Cam, we've seen a lot of races in British F4 Esports. This is up there with one of the best that we've ever seen. Henry Moore, Ronnie Smith, Graham Carroll, one final time north of the border.
And you cannot predict it at all. Who is going to make a mistake or who is going to do the perfect lap to try and find a way past? So for the first 3 corners, that is perfect from Henry Moore. Smith is following in behind, maybe even lost half a tenth there. Such is the pace of Moore. This is a crucial one to not mess up. A little bit slow from Henry Moore.
Yep, indeed. Has he opened up the opportunity? Will Ronnie Smith commit to it? The answer to the question is no, but Ronnie Smith is asking all of the questions. Graham Carroll is sat there as well. Will Carroll dive down the inside, heading down to the final corner? One more turn left to go here as Henry Moore continues to lead. Graham Carroll's going to send one in. He's going to try and get to the outside. Ronnie Smith says no. There's contact between the two, and Ronnie Smith is sent out into the barrier as they come up towards the line. Leo Brown will come through in the third, and Henry Moore, for the 4th time in his British F4 esports career, will take victory. His championship rival will cross the line in 2nd spot, and Ronnie Smith, head in hands, disaster.
Oh my word, we're going to have to see that one again. I mean, Carroll went to the outside, which, to be fair, hasn't really worked all day. Very risky move. I know the outside of turn 1 is risky, but in some ways the final corner is even more. Contact was made, like we saw with Joseph Loke, you know, in a very similar fashion as well. So I'd have to see that one again, whether there was some fault. Let's have a look at this from the helicopter. He's going to go to the left-hand side, and just how much space is there? I mean, actually, Smith was just held, not necessarily held up, but, you know, he just had to slow down a little bit from Moore and just wasn't able maybe to put his car where he would have wanted.
I feel bad for Ronnie Smith there.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of sat there being like, I almost think it's one of those racing things. Yeah, if you've got a car on the outside, you kind of got to hold it a little bit tighter, but then like neither of them really did anything wrong. They just kind of came together, and then you've got that iRacing glue, and then off they go into the barrier. Either way, though, after a dramatic race, an incredible race, it is a 4th victory of 2024 for Henry Moore and our championship leader. Graham Carroll, excellent drive from 14th to 2nd, but controversy at the final corner. Leo Brown for Guild Esports comes across the line in 3rd. Moreno Sarica, almost 10 seconds off of the race lead, but still solid for the Williams Esports team. 4th position for him today in the 2nd race. Samuele Villa as well there in 5th spot. Yoni Catala, Remy Gilbert, and then Serge Fitzpatrick had a personal best result in the 1st race of the evening, has a personal best result again in the 2nd. 8th place in that one as Connor Muir works way up to 9th position. Gogo Bowdy inside the top 10 for the Scuderia Ferrari HP Esports team, as those will pull out a slight gap on Guild in the constructors, I believe. Although have been closed down a little bit by Guild. Never mind, I'll counter that one. Peter Statchacek in 11th position. Elias Riker in 12th. Olivia Hayward in 13th with Ronnie Smith. That's such a shame. 14th position for him at the line. Will Murdoch in 15th. Giuseppe Lafaro with one of the biggest crashes I've ever seen in sim racing, and of course here in the British F4 Esports Championship. 16th edition, Matt Caruana involved in that incident. Then Isaac Price, Simon Kulik, and Joseph Loke retiring at the final corner much earlier on in the race. Pablo Espes, Joel Holm with a very speedy crash into the barrier nearly where his teammate was. The Freem UK cars being picked up on the exit of the chicane. Matthias Van Erven, double retirement this evening. Same with Alexander Spetz having a bit of drama in that race, retiring. Wow, that was dramatic. And I'm sure the top 3 are discussing an awful lot, but I'm going to interrupt the conversation because it's time for me to chat to Henry Moore. Race victory for the 4th time this season, and at part of that race, when you took the lead going down to turn 1, I thought, all right, bye Henry, that's going to be an easy victory. It was anything but. Talk us through that race. That was crazy.
Well, yeah, to be honest, got the lead into turn 1, really happy about that. Drove really quite well, was pulling a nice gap, and yeah, just kept getting unlucky over the curb at the chicane. But yeah, really happy with the win, and well done to Graham and Leo for the podium.
Yeah, obviously you had a big battle with Ronnie Smith earlier on in the race. We saw you having a little bit of contact as well, a little bit in the previous race, just as you were coming through in the wet weather conditions as well. I mean, you battled with Ronnie a little bit in the Formula Fords. What's it like battling with him in the British F4 as well?
Obviously a lot faster, but it's the same, you know, he always puts up a really good fight, and it's really good fun to battle with him. Good friends with him off track, and yeah, it shows on track. Really good battles.
Now, finally, let's talk. Obviously, you had to start from the rear of the field in the previous race. I mean, looking at how this evening's worked out, there was a solid result in that one. There was obviously the victory in this one. Are you kind of looking at that thinking that's probably about as good as this evening could have gone, or is there maybe somewhere where you're thinking there's points I lost?
Maybe a few here and there in race 1, but you know, I'm happy with the results. A win. Couldn't really ask for much more in race 2 there. So yeah, I don't know the championship situation after that, but Graham had a good round, so yeah, well done.
Yeah, indeed. I think it's been closed down a little bit, but it's only by maybe 10 or so points. You've still got a healthy championship lead. Henry, congratulations. 4th victory. We'll see you at Donington Park in a week's time.
Thank you. See you soon.
There we go. Henry Moore is out of here. Let's drag in, though, the driver he's battling with in the championship. Let's drag in Graham Carroll, of course, the driver who went from 14th position all the way, from 12th position all the way to second. I mean, what an absolutely epic drive. You were here when we were talking about the reverse grid. I mean, that was entertaining at the very least. You were closing down for the race lead, and we were all thinking maybe you were going to do it, and I'm sure you were as well.
I just honestly kind of, with the hotter temps here, I kind of had a few laps where I was just going for it, and I just sort of had a few moments, and they few moments just cooked the rears, and so I need to bring them back down again and then push again. But honestly, I can't wait to get in the shower. I'm soaking wet. It's honestly really, really mega. I think I got a good turn 2. Everyone went defensive. I went wide. Got 2 cars. A couple of guys went off. So really good first lap, and it was just just taking my time, picking them off, and it's tough to get by a few of them, but we made it work, and all the way up to the back of Henry for P12. So yeah, one of my better second races. So really happy.
How was the heart rate when you were seeing the top throwers, particularly Ronnie and Henry, battling up ahead? You were sat, like 4 seconds behind. Leo had caught up. There was a bit of switching, and you were catching in. How was your heart rate in that, and what was the mindset like? Because you were closing down pretty quickly.
It was, honestly, I didn't really feel the pressure until, like what you say, until I was, like, say, 1.6 behind Leo, and I could sort of see, like, actually, when I start nailing every single lap here, I'm just catching them all. So just had to lock in, really sort of look after the tyres. Too wide with Leo through the chicane, that's mental. So normally I honestly wouldn't really be sending that, but home track, I felt like it was in my favour, so we got away with it. And then really a shame with Ronnie last corner, right? It was a tiny bit in netcode, but if you're going to come over and the car's on your outside, you're always going to get spun across the front there. So in testing, round the outside was always the quickest route, right? So as soon as he defended there, I was like, this is perfect. So a really shame for him. Never like to see that in a last corner. He drove quite a good race. So, but 12th to second, honestly, I'm pleased. It's really, really happy being Knockhill as well, and buzzing.
12th to second, epic drive. Really happy to see it. One of the best drives that we've seen in British F4 history. And like you say, really keeping that championship life. We'll let you go and have a shower, cool down. Thank you, Graham, and again, epic stuff.
Thank you very much. Speak to you next week. Thank you.
There we go. Graham Carroll onto the podium again. Back-to-back podiums here at Knockhill. Excellent driving. One final driver, though, to join us here. It's been a little while. Of course, we've got Leo Brown to join us in the commentary booth. Epic drive from you, Leo. And, I mean, talk to us. You weren't expecting you to grab a podium at the end, and suddenly there you did.
Yeah, no, I was very happy with that. I had damage from turn 1, so I was just kind of playing survival for the championship and the constructors. And also it's an added bonus to be third at the last corner. So, yeah, really happy with that.
I mean, like I say, to have seen that battling happening up ahead, obviously then you had the side-by-side with Graham Carroll. You were closing your way in. What was your mentality in that race? I mean, how much were you getting involved? Obviously, you got the team's championship to deal with and everything like that. I mean, absolutely incredible stuff, but must be hard to juggle mentally.
Yeah, I mean, Graham's in the championship fight with Henry, right? But I don't want to... At the end of the day, I don't want to take out Graham when we're going side by side. I knew he wasn't going to back out. And like I said, I was just trying to survive there with the damage. But no, third is very good for the points for myself and for Guild as well, especially with Remy winning the first race. So yeah, all good in that department.
So obviously it's kind of where you're focused on the team's championship as well, because obviously you and Remy can go and win the team's championship. Scuderia Ferrari aren't that far ahead realistically, but like you said, you've got Henry there who's involved in the championship fight, but he's not scoring points in the team's championship for you lot. It's all very confusing. How's that as a driver? Is that complicated for you, or is it more just like ignore all of that stuff and let's just focus on one race at a time?
Yeah, I focus on one race at a time, really. At the end of the day, I'm still here for myself and Guilds. I want to do the best I can do, and ultimately try and bring home the constructors for Guild, because I think quite a lot of the races this season haven't gone my way, and I'm quite lucky to be fourth in the championship, if I'm honest. So it's nice to be back in the back speaking to you guys. It's been a while since round 1.
It has been indeed, and I'm sure it won't be long before we're catching up with you again. Of course, we'll see you maybe in a week's time at Donington Park. Cheers, Leo.
Thank you very much.
There we go then. Leo Brown onto the podium again. Cam Roger, epic rounds here in Scotland, in Knockhill. Apologies to Olivia Hayward, probably wasn't ready to jump on camera then, that's fine. Reacted very well. Great time though here at Knockhill. It's always an exciting round, and once again, it delivers. I'm sure some drivers hate this place, but for a championship fight, it's epic.
Yeah, I love it. And you're mentioning as well the round that it is in the season as well, being sort of the second to last one. It just blows the door wide open for the final 2 rounds of the season. At more traditional circuits as such, but it's an amazing venue, and once again we've had 2 completely interesting races. Last season, of course, it was Gordy Much who turned his championship contentions around and then won it at the final race there. So I wonder how that's going to work out for Graham Carroll after a solid race here on home soil.
Yeah, like I say, it was a double victory for Gordy Much here last season. Put him in contention for the championship. Was still beaten by Luke McEwen, who outscored him by 0 points. Will we have that at the line of the season this year? We'll have to wait and see. Of course, next week it will be the penultimate round of 2024 as we go to Donington Park and begin all of the arguments as to what county it's in. It's in Leicestershire. It's not Derbyshire. Don't worry about it. Lovely track, great fun. It always is entertaining. It was exciting last year. Not only the British F4 Esports Championship, but in the Formula Fords as well. Both those championships back and ready to go racing. For now, though, we've done our racing at Knockhill. It has been incredible. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been Lewis McGlade. Cameron Rogers has been alongside. Hugo Luis is bringing you the broadcast. Of course, big thanks to all of our partners here for the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. We'll see you in 1 week time as the final leg of the British F4 Esports Championship is fully underway.